award-winning, thought-provoking, action-packed edition of the Tony Basilio Show is coming up next.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
Open up the phone lines. I'm fired up today, man. We talked for like 3 hours last night after that game on our Garza Law Tennessee basketball overtime, and hey, I appreciate so much what I witnessed last night. And who's ever coughing? Who's coughing? Is that you, Bino?
That's me.
Don't
Tony,
start that, Bino. I'm coughing. Don't start that, man. We're having an intercoastal. We're having an intercoastal cough-a-thon here. Bino's in Las Vegas, where he won wages over the weekend, betting basketball games. How many people can say that? And we're live with you on a Monday, and I'm just look. I said coming into the tournament that if this team gets to the Sweet 16, it would be Coach of the Century material. Okay? And I mean that. It's an incredible accomplishment to get here. I mean, just to get here. It is just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Absolutely amazing. And Tennessee had a little bit of everything in that game. Now, Rodney Woods is going to join us later on in the hour. Rodney Woods, who played here, many moons ago, but is a Hall of Fame coach in the state of Kentucky, is the guy responsible for Chris Lofton ultimately ending up here. He essentially discovered Chris Lofton. And he texts and says, this Nate Ament guy, he said, look, I wore the uniform 50 years ago. I'm VFL to the core. Rodney has, literally in his basement, a toilet. And on his toilet is a Kentucky emblem. And he puts a deuce there every once in a while. It's a true story. Rodney's real deal Holyfield. Rodney said, I consider that young man a VFL, FL, no question about it. There are so many people in his position that if they were in the spot he's in, playing in the pain he's in, they would have already pulled themselves out of the tournament. I have so much respect for Nate Ament. Rick Barnes was so right about him. So right. And here's the truth. If Nate Ament was 100% healthy, Tennessee would have absolutely obliterated Virginia yesterday. That would have been an obliteration. That wouldn't have been a basketball game. Of course, they don't obliterate anybody, but sounds good to say that. It's a shame that on this great stage, he's not going to get a chance to show who he really is. But let's go to the phones. No. Let's get Bino Jeff Henderson here, who's in Vegas. And if you want to get in with us, 865-200-5402. We'll get some calls in. But really, 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 really excited about what we saw yesterday. Really, really excited. And also got to reach out and do a proof of life check for Dave, who yesterday it did sound like, I went back and listened to Dave. Somebody sent me they clipped his call. And Dave really did sound like he was in the middle of a hostage situation, like he was being held at gunpoint, and he was reading from a prepared statement when he said the following: I'm really proud of this team. I'm really proud of this coach. And that's all I've got to say. It was almost like they were telling him, hey, look, man. All right, let's get in here. Bino Jeff Henderson. The Vols are dancing, brother. Sweet 16. What do you think?
Tony, I'm really happy. I did not think this team would still be in the tournament. when I got home from Las Vegas. But happy as I can be to be wrong. Wasn't the smoothest of landings. Some of our old issues, like faulty ball handling in key possessions, trouble inbounding, making it to the finish line a little hairy. But this team was able to overcome all of that. It's almost like they'd been practicing for this point with some earlier games this season. In the end, they hit clutch free throws. They locked down defensively to get enough stops to close out the most important game of the season, and made it to Sweet 16 for the fourth consecutive time, which I didn't think I would ever see here. Really happy for Jacoby, who struggled making free throws late in games earlier this season. That was an issue. He certainly fixed that, and in much bigger points than he had ever seen to this point. Tennessee drained them. Nate Ament did the same thing. You could tell Nate doesn't have the push-off that he needs offensively on a lot of plays. He rushes through things. But like you, I really admire his courage. And through it, he's regained his aggression. And that's hard to do while you're still hurt. You mentioned Bishop Boswell. Can't think of a bigger time for him to hit some threes like he did yesterday. Jalen Carey was effective in a game that I thought he would be useless in against Virginia's length. And Felix Akpar was just an absolute beast defensively and provided some offense too. So I'm elated that this team has gotten to the Sweet 16, and I don't put anything past them. I know this Iowa State team is very, very good.
We've said all year, look, hey, Bino, now that you're in this spot, one of the things we've said all year is that sometimes you watch sport long enough, it has a perverse way about it. The last time the Yankees held the trophy, A-Rod led them to the World Championship, the most unclutched player in the history of the world. And part of a Yankee team that drove you nuts. Beat my Phillies in the World Series, right? They drove you crazy. I remember you that year. You just, as a team, you despised. That was the last team that held the trophy. Last night there were people calling in, going, "Well, you guys said," and Alex finally piped in and said, "Listen, we had to do the post-game shows after every single game this year, and let's not rewrite history now that these guys are in the Sweet 16. These guys were hard to watch this season." We're not going to rewrite history here. Now, sometimes it's the teams like this. The J.P. Prince team was like that just drove you nuts. That's the closest the Vols have been to the Final Four that year. That went right to the last couple of possessions, and they were sitting right there on the doorstep. But that team did maddening things, depending on when you were watching them. I'm going to tell you right now, getting this team to a Sweet 16. People say, well, Rick Barnes built the roster. Well, I mean, yes and no. The way it works in the way I think about building your roster right now, it's like going into one of those sealed vaults when they're dropping money from the ceiling and you're just trying to grab as much of it as you can with the air. It's blowing it up in the air. And then you walk out of there and you assess how you did. Or you go to a flea market, those of you that do that, and you're trying to beat the person over there for this, or an auction. You're trying to, and then you walk out and you go, okay, what did I get? That's what putting your team together in the spring's like. You're not always going to get it right. And Tennessee came up a shooting guard short this year. There's no question. But this team, for them to get through that round yesterday, showed a lot of courage and a lot of guts. And it took people doing things they didn't do all year. Bishop Boswell wasn't doing that all year. He didn't play that well all year. And you had to have that. You had to have that. And it's not only the making the shots, it's the 9 assists with the 0 turnovers. That's my number. It isn't so much the 3, but the 3 balls are great. And then it's the attention to detail on defense. And, Tennessee had their moments, like Bino said. How about Rick Barnes exhausting all of his timeouts by the end of the game, coaching the game to the finish line, taking the final timeout to put amen in, taking a timeout when Tennessee got herky-jerky. He never does that. He always trusts the process. Not this time, because he knows. Bino, he doesn't get that timeout there when we're melting down. Virginia's on a 12-2 run. We probably don't get back in the game if he doesn't take a timeout and slow it down there.
No, I agree, Tony, and I thought you had to take your last timeout when he took it to get his offensive personnel back in there. And if they'll just give the game an opportunity, it'll give you a timeout you don't have anyway, because they'll walk over there to the side to review something, and you can use it that way.
You know, I just appreciate so much everything it took to get past that round yesterday for these guys. Because here's the truth. Virginia looked awful in that first half. In that second half, their offensive execution was off the charts, Bino.
Yes.
And we just kept matching it. I was like, uh-oh, we're in trouble. We just kept matching it. At one point, Bino, we were playing the game of our lives and only up 4. And I was like, oh, my gosh, we're in trouble here. Did you have that thought, Bino?
Yeah, I was nervous the entire game. It stayed, basically right around. We got up 8 a couple of times, but every time we got up 8, they hit a huge shot. They had an answer every time that we tried to make a run, and the game was right there. And we've just seen so many faulty finishes that I had a fear there. Listen, I love this group of kids. Absolutely love this group of kids. But anyone that watched them this year that doesn't think that they're somewhat maddening, they have a level of tolerance that I don't possess.
Yes. And I like these people, like this guy, East. I'm just going to make East 10 because we had some of this last night on the postgame show. I got news for some of you. This is not about you. This whole thing of I'm going to extract a pound of flesh out of all these people that criticize the team all year. Come on, man. Can't we just enjoy something? Here's East 10 in here. It's hilarious how much the chat was on my neck all year about my takes on basketball, LOL. This chat's full of terrible takes, man. Do not exactly watch the sport and relish in us losing. Hey, East 10, would you just relax, man? Can you relax and let it go and just enjoy yourself? Does it have to be about y'all 24/7? Does it? I mean, Sammy came in here last night trying to he wanted a pound of flesh out of me. We had a guy in Nashville. I remember you after so-and-so. Yeah, I said what I said after. You need to go back and listen to yourself. No, I don't. Alex piped in and said, sir, we're doing post-game call-in shows. We're not doing this is where we're going to be in March. If you guys want, I just won't do the show after games, if that's what you guys want. Is that what we want? Is that what we want? East Tennessee, Tony, they did it all year. They murdered me every day. Hey, East Tennessee, I tell you what, buddy, then why don't you not come in the chat? Then why don't you just get out of the chat, sweetheart? Nobody's going to apologize to you, bro. It's sports. Relax. Relax. It's not about you. The Vols are in the Sweet 16, sweetheart. And that's the kind of stuff that drives me nuts. I mean, we had a beautiful game yesterday, and it's something that unites us. It's terrific. We're on to the Sweet 16. As Brian said, there are 3 teams in the entire tournament that have done that 4 years in a row. And who are the 3, Bino?
3 teams that have done that have made 4 straight Sweet 16s?
Yeah, guess them.
Alabama's 1.
Yes.
We're 1.
Yes. I'll give you a hint.
Duke.
No. How about that Houston bunch and what they did to A&M over the weekend?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Man.
2 of those teams are tougher than everybody. That's the deal here. Listen, you're sitting here on a Monday. Let's dream a little dream, okay? Let's dream a little dream here. You ready? Here's the dream. Here's the dream. Here's the dream. The dream is this. Alabama comes out, the Dweem. They come out and shoot the lights out. Brian, Friday, in the early session. They knock out Michigan. We take the stage for about 10:30 Eastern time. As Brant Packer wrote online today, Billy Packer's son, he said, what in the world? Why would they have the Vols playing? He said, and it won't be until 10:30. He said, so let's get real. His father worked at CBS for years. And Brant is a Tennessee graduate. His daughter's coming here next year. Sweet people.
Wow, how can that be possible?
He's listening to us today. Brant used to intern under me down through the years.
Yes.
He's such a good dude. You remember him, right, Bino? He's a good dude, man.
Absolutely. He's got a daughter getting ready to go to college.
Yes. Let's go.
Well, it's time for me to quit.
Let's go. He says, and he's so fired up right now because, look, he grew up Tennessee fan. He's Tennessee guy to the core. He had to listen all those years, all that ACC stuff, ACC this, ACC that. The truth is, you look at this tournament, and there are two leagues that are carrying the banner right now, and it's the AFC and the NFC. And it's the Big Ten, and it's the Southeastern Conference. And if Florida didn't choke a bone yesterday, Bri, they would be exactly proportional, wouldn't they, in terms of the teams in this thing?
It would be 5-5. That's
exactly right. If Florida didn't choke a bone, it'd be 5 teams each. How wild is that?
I told my buddies out here, when Vandy and Kentucky and Florida all get sent to the house in a 24-hour period in which we advance, it just doesn't get any better than that for an old ball fan.
Well, and then you got Matt Jones sitting courtside who had to leave. I went back and looked at that, Brian. He actually wrote on Twitter, I had to leave so I wouldn't yell at the officials. I guess, Matt, you'll just give out their coordinates later on and try to ruin their business like you did several years ago. Is that what we're going to do? We have to do something because Kentucky just can't lose. I mean, of course.
Officials in that game?
Yeah.
What were they doing, setting picks?
Well, he said he had to leave because it was going to take everything in his power not to scream at those officials. That's what he wrote.
Might as well got on the scorekeeper's ass.
I mean, yeah, the Big Ten has 6 teams in. I understand that. But they would have 5, and so would the SEC if Florida didn't choke a bone. And that's kind of the point here. I never dreamed this team would still be playing. I will tell them myself. And I never dreamed that Bishop Boswell could have that kind of game in the NCAA tournament, which shows you why they call this thing madness and how random it is and how crazy it is. The kid that made the shot for St. John's yesterday at the end of the game told Patino, he said, called his own number. He hadn't made a field goal all day. Patino said on the podium after the game, he said, I'm walking away from him, and I'm thinking to myself, wait a second. He hadn't made a shot all day. He said, but by that point, it was too late. He said, I already called the play. And the guy went right down the thing, and he made the play. He went right down the thing. It's so great. So great. Here's the thing. Think about it this week. Why not dream about it? If Alabama goes out and shoots the lights out Friday night, and it could happen. They do it. They do this to teams that aren't used to seeing them. They pull Arizona into their mess.
Has Michigan seen a team even close to the style of Alabama this year in the Big Ten?
I don't think so. Who plays that style? I mean, I kept saying Arizona. Michigan is what I mean. Yeah, thank you, Brian.
Now, the line is 10.5 points.
Right.
Michigan's favored, of course. But But
yep, our line's 3.5, which again isn't very surprising. It's not what I would call a tremendous surprise. But let's go to the phones. This is about you today. It's about us celebrating 4 consecutive Sweet 16s. Only 3 teams that have done it. First time in school history. And Brian, compared to Kentucky, when you juxtapose us to Kentucky, in the Barnes era, we basically have stolen their program, Bri.
I think it's 6 straight years Tennessee's gone further in the tournament than Kentucky.
Bino, you ever dream that's possible? You, Chris Burke, who lives up there. I mean, Rodney Woods. Is that possible? Could Kentucky do that if they tried? I don't care what era they're in. The NIL era, the non-NIL era. It just doesn't seem, because that bridges those 2 eras. That just doesn't seem possible, guys.
No, it doesn't. With their change in athletic director, is Pope in trouble?
Yeah. Is he in trouble?
Yes.
I mean, I don't see how they bring him back.
Okay.
I mean, I don't see how he wouldn't be. His AD just quit. The backstory on that is there's a guy that they thought was going to be the next AD, the succession plan, who's a Mormon, who was involved in the whole Pope from BYU thing. And BYU showed you how much they believed in Pope. As soon as they went and got the guy from the NBA off the Suns bench, they salted that guy with all kinds of money that they would not spend on Pope. And James Daniel says the Vols were favored yesterday. First team, all SEC point guard, top 10 pick, and Tony has these guys up there with St. Peter's and UMBC. James, I didn't think they were winning yesterday. And I thought Nate Ament's health issue was going to be the culprit. Nate Ament gutted out his 16 points, and they had to have him. Now, James, maybe you saw Bishop Boswell hitting 4 threes yesterday in that game. I didn't see that. But maybe James saw it. Which, good for James. And the Vols were favored, no question. Bino, were you expecting?
But it flipped. It flipped late.
Oh, did it?
In order for that to happen, when I got here, Tennessee was a 1.5 underdog.
Mm-hmm.
And then the night before the game, it flipped to Tennessee being a 1.5 favorite.
Back to our phones we go. I know that internally Tennessee staff liked that matchup, which is something I talked about last night. I had somebody tell me internally, hey, we like, and I was like, okay. I mean, they were right. They were right. They liked the matchup, and they were right. Even with immense physical limitations, Tennessee was able to do a lot of great things yesterday. A lot of great things. Let's go to the phones. Hello and welcome into our first call. You're on our Monday edition. We were on close to 3 hours last night. It was a great fun. I love Nate Ament. I love his courage. I love his heart. That's a phenomenal effort by a guy out there risking his body. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
What's up, Tony? Grant in Birmingham. How are you?
Grant, what a great way to start off on a Monday.
Man, what a great day it is. I listened to a lot of it last night. Didn't call in. I figured I'd have a better chance of getting in first thing today, which
Thank
worked
you.
out.
Hey, Grant, did you expect to win? Did you expect to win yesterday?
I did not.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought we had a chance, but no, I wasn't expecting to win.
Okay.
I just felt that this team, games in a row against pretty good competition, playing at a high level, I didn't think we could do it, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't either.
And I thought we played really good on Friday. I mean, I know that it wasn't obviously that we kind of overmatched them, but I thought we played really good on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I thought besides that kind of 5-minute stretch, I thought we played really good yesterday. I think that's the first time I'd have to look back at the schedule, but I feel like that's the first time we played back-to-back really good games against quality competition. I mean, is it all year? I don't. The SEC. There probably was 2 games there in a row. Georgia, Bama. I think we played back-to-back on the road and beat them. Maybe that's the last time we've done it. So yeah, it was definitely very impressive.
You know, we had that funky 5 minutes that generally knocks us out or knocked us out of some of these games. It's almost like if the Kentucky fans are listening, the Kentucky fans have to understand something. We used you guys as sort of practice games because we got that out of our system and we learned how to play through that duress yesterday. Because earlier in the year, if we would have had a 4-minute stretch like that, first of all, Rick Barnes wouldn't have taken a timeout. What did you think of that, Grant? Him deviating and getting a timeout and saying, I've seen enough of this.
Yeah, it was great. I think that, people, and there are certain ways where he is stubborn, and there's no doubt about that. But I think that he's changed a lot over his, whatever it is, 11 years now, as far as, he has adjusted. I think one of those timeouts was Ament calling one on the inbound, which, as y'all said, that goofy stuff's got to stop. But
yep.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I thought he called it the perfect time. I thought there was a good. If we would have lost, maybe you could have argued against it. But I thought he called a good timeout to get Ament back in the game on offense.
Timeout.
It was
great
kind of a risk because it was our last timeout.
It's a great timeout.
He loves to have at least one or 2 timeouts at the end.
Yep.
So I was honestly shocked he called it to get him back in the game.
Yes.
But yeah, I thought that was a great timeout. But kind of a couple things I wanted to hit on real quick. First of all, to Bino's point, I think Pope is safe for this year just because they don't have an AD like you're saying. And I think those people all hate Barnhart so much at this point. I don't think they want Barnhart making another basketball hire on the way out. Now, I will say that I think Pope's probably, I'd be surprised if he gets a year 4. I mean, he'll have to be really good next year, but I do think we're going to get one more year of Pope. Hopefully, maybe we can beat them once next year. Maybe we're asking for too much, but we'll see. We'll worry about that next year. I think kind of the overreaching fault I had when you look at how well Boswell played yesterday and Carey, and it just kind of hit me. And I know that some of these guys have been so maddening at times, but you look at these last 4 years, this 4 straight Sweet 16s. You can say whatever you want about them, but I think, Barnes has had a way of having some of these role players that are so up and down, and even more down than up a lot of times, step up in these games. You go back to Amwa against Duke. I mean, that was a performance for the ages. Talking about a guy that was frustrating, how up and down he was. The guy scores 27 points against Duke.
Let's list some of these guys. Hang on. I'm going to slow down here. I'm gonna get this in the blog tomorrow. Okay.
Cam Waugh against Duke, 27 points. Game of his career, by far.
Versus Duke, 27 points. All right, go ahead, continue.
Josiah James, who did a lot of good things, but he was a very maligned player for a lot of our fans for 5 years. He scored against Creighton in the Sweet 16, which at that time, we had not gotten back to the Elite Eight since Bruce Pearl. That was... People forget about it now because Rick's done so much winning in March, but it was the whole, can you get to the Elite Eight?
No doubt about it. It was a huge game. Huge game. Friday night game, huge game.
Got Dalton. Correct. Josiah James, 16 points.
Oh, you had to have him.
A guy who was a guy who was a role player and did a lot of good things, but he wasn't always a scorer. 16 points in the Sweet 16.
Yep.
I look at last year. Most people are going to forget this against Kentucky, and at the end of the day, we beat them by 15, so it didn't matter. Do y'all remember Darlingstone Dubar hitting 2 threes against Kentucky in the Sweet 16 last year? I mean, just, out of nowhere, a guy that barely played the whole season. To step up in that spot, I was up there in that football stadium, to hit 2 threes. It was just, again last night. I mean, Bishop Boswell, what can you say? I mean, there's really nothing you can say about it. You got 4 threes from the guy. He probably hadn't hit 4 threes in the last month. He scored 2 points in Nashville. He scored 2 points in Nashville in 2 games last week.
When he pulled on that first 3 ball, we're literally, hey, Bino, we're like 6 seconds into the game, and he already has 3 points. I mean, I'm sitting there going, what in the world just happened here? So great.
My immediate response to my buddies was, that's not typical. So that should be a good sign.
And then we come out and we have a couple of ram jam dunks off the weak side when they're supposed to be dominant inside. We actually ran some cross-screen stuff and, some weak side. It was beautiful basketball to start. Beautiful stuff to start from the Vols.
Yeah, and I think, too, and y'all, people have been giving him his flowers. I know people are talking about his toughness, but I don't want it to go overlooked. Nate scored 16 yesterday. Now, it wasn't always pretty, and again, the turnovers at the end were bad, but, we won by 7, and really that's a 2-point game with 30 seconds to go. It wasn't like he scored 4 points and had 4 blocks. Like, he gutted out those 16 points, and that run there at the beginning of the second half was huge because they were hitting everything in those first 5 minutes. I felt like that Nate, felt like it was about a personal 8 or 10 straight he got there. I thought that was like underrated, most important part of the game was him. We could have easily, with how they were shooting coming out of the half, we could have it could have flipped from, up 5 to down 5, but we basically stayed even in that first TV timeout. So like I said, I hope people just recognize that not only did he, tough it out and play good defense and get some big boards, but like those 16 points to me were just massive. Because he scored, like I said, he scored 0 on Friday, and he found a way to score 16 with a clearly bad ankle.
How about the way he kept falling down? And none of it was fake. It wasn't like he was going for some kind of he was farming for clicks online or something, looking for attention. That one time his ankle got rolled up on. Another time he came down and you could see he was in excruciating pain. There was another time where he was trying to get back on defense and he fell on his limb and he just kept getting up. And Grant, you follow the sport nationally. How many players of his ilk would be out there right now gutting it out? And how many would have shut it down? Maury Hanks, who's an NBA scout by trade for 30-plus years, said there aren't many guys. He said he could have shut it down in January, and he was going in the top 10 in the NBA draft. He said there aren't many guys that would still be trying to do this like he's doing it right now because he's obviously in pain, and he obviously can't get off the floor on offense.
Yeah, no, you just look around. The kid from Louisville is basically what he did. He basically, he got hurt. Remember, it was the game against us in December when he first started missing time. And he basically did it. So no, it's incredibly impressive. And people won't remember, and there will be some people that nitpick. But I hope when it's all said and done, now that we got in the second weekend, I hope people really appreciate Nate. And again, we all know the price tag. That's fine. But that kid's come in, and then a humble. Just a complete not a look at me guy, has deferred to Jacoby a lot of the time, and has gutted it out here in the last month when he did, like you said, he did not have to. That guy's going to sign a, even if he, goes all to 10 or 12, he's going to sign a $30 million contract here in about 3 months.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
And you just listen to the guy talk. Any interview he gives, it's just incredibly impressive. And like I said, I just come back to humble, man. You just don't see a lot of these kids that have that trait anymore.
Well, he's raised properly. He's raised properly. One other thought on him, and I get to let your last thought in. But the other thing about him is that Rick Barnes basically staked his reputation with his staff on him. And some will say, well, Rick Barnes was wrong because the kid got no. Rick Barnes was right. Rick Barnes was right. Imagine, Grant, if this kid was 100% healthy right now, what Friday night would look like for Tennessee. And they might win anyway. But imagine if the kid was 100% healthy yesterday, what that game would have looked like.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. We would have run them off the floor. Because, it's just... But again, we said it all year, Tony. It's Gillespie and it's Amen. And obviously you got the bonus yesterday, some other guys scoring. But, Jacoby was great. Jacoby's taken a lot of heat too, man. And, he's been frustrating at times. But he's another one that... I just think people better appreciate how good Jacoby Gillespie's been. I would have not have wanted to see this team. It would have been an NIT team probably, if we're being honest.
Well,
he didn't score as much yesterday, but man, he played high level basketball, and then he went 8 for 8 at the line in crunch time. Yep. That is big time. That is, you talk about money.
Yep.
Guys making money plays. Jacoby Gillespie this weekend, money player.
Grant, thank you. The thing about Jacoby Gillespie that I loved yesterday. When your other teammates are scoring, when Boswell's going well, get him the ball. You don't need to score. Kind of like that night at South Carolina. When your front line is working Let them cook. Let those guys cook. I love this basketball team. We'll come back, get some more calls in. Rodney Woods in as well. We'll get Rodney in. We'll get some calls in. It's all going to happen on the other side. I tell you what, Rodney Woods is appreciating on this Native Ment guy right now. I don't think we understand, because people want to get stuck, like Grant said, on the $4 million price tag. If that's you, you go for it. Have class envy all you want. I don't begrudge a kid one bit. Because he's getting ready to sign a deal for life-changing money. I'm talking about life-changing money. And a lot of guys yesterday, after that second time he fell on the ground, would have checked out and nobody would have blamed him. This guy's on the floor at the end, literally throwing himself in the middle of that contact with those big guys, getting thrown to the ground, going to the foul line. I mean, that, you talk about some onions. If Bill Raftery was on the call yesterday, I mean, that was some Willis Reed stuff we saw out of him yesterday, fourth quarter. And I'm very surprised that Tennessee's in the Sweet 16. And so we were like, well, what about the Ken Palm? Okay, that's fine. If you play your game with numbers, great. Play the game with numbers. Let's just not watch the games. Because if you watch the games, you see that we're short of two-guard. We have trouble closing games. We have trouble winning games at the end of games. We have trouble winning games like that all year. We almost threw that one away. But you go ahead and play the games with numbers, and how about we just quit watching? We'll just run a computer simulation. I'm very surprised that this team's made it to the Sweet 16 round with their deficiencies, and I appreciate it. And I'm going to say it out loud. I think they've gotten above their raisin, as we say in country music or bluegrass. So we continue with more on the other side right after this. When it's time for your next move, you want to get your precious belongings from point A to point B with your peace of mind intact. That's why you need to call my friends at Gufon Moving and Storage, East Tennessee's moving legend. Gufon Moving and Storage has been helping East Tennesseans move since 1887. That's 138 years, 5 generations. That's even longer than the Dooley, Jones, and Pruitt era combined. Gufon Moving and Storage, pro movers, serving Knoxville, surrounding areas, and interstate moves too, both residential and commercial. And we'll provide you with personalized service that other corporate movers simply cannot. We know how to move all types of items. We pay careful attention to our clients' valuables. Your satisfaction as a customer is our absolute priority. As the oldest continually owned and operated family moving business in the United States, when it's time for your next move, it's Gufon Moving and Storage. And storage, it's secure and vaulted. Our newest offering of commercial storage logistics, we offer receiving, storage, and delivery services for all your business logistic needs. See more at Gufon.com. That's Gufon.com. Or check out the link at tclub.team. When it's time for your next move, East Tennessee's moving legend, Gufon Moving and Storage. Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Inward Half is committed to the game and the memorable moments that happen in between. From the tee box to the tailgate, from the green to the big game. For the first birdie with Dad, the first big win with Mom. Friday night lights, Saturday superstitions, Sunday traditions. Fall into the comfort and unparalleled performance of Inward Half. This fall, enjoy the walk-in.
Are you tired of hiding your smile because of crooked teeth? At Knoxville Smiles, we've got the perfect solution. Invisalign. No metal, no wires. Just clear, comfortable aligners that straighten your teeth without anyone noticing. Eat what you want, smile with confidence, and see results in as little as 6 months. Call us today for more information about Invisalign, 865-539-1776. Or just visit us online at KnoxvilleSmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
Fan Run Radio, where Big Orange Country comes to talk sports. Start your morning off with your daily dose of talk sports with John Reed and Cody McClure from 8 to 11. Then it's Tony Basilio from 11 to 1. The Playbook with William Pattison from 1 to 3. And The Drive from 3 to 6. It's 10 hours of hard-hitting local sports radio every day.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Start the new year with comfort and savings from Pipe Wrench Home Services. Tired of high energy bills and constant heating and AC repairs? Ready for a more efficient home? There's never been a better time to upgrade your comfort and take control of your energy costs. Upgrade your HVAC system now with Pipe Wrench Home Services and make no payments until 2027. A new energy efficient system means lower bills, fewer breakdowns, and peace of mind for years to come. And with Pipe Wrench Home Services same-day service guarantee, you won't wait to start enjoying a more comfortable home. Your comfort isn't just our job, it's our promise. Upgrade your HVAC system now with Pipe Wrench Home Services and make no payments until 2027. Schedule your free estimate today at pipewrench.com. Pipe Wrench Home Services, trusted in Knoxville, Maryville, Oak Ridge, and neighboring communities for over 20 years. Same-day service guaranteed, or the visit is free. Offer good with approved credit. Some restrictions apply. Visit pipewrench.com for details.
Hey, I'm Alan, and we ship floors on Bristol Highway in Johnson City. Are you tired of walking around on that ratty-looking carpet that you have? Well, today's your lucky day, because we have Supercore on sale for $1.79. 58 colors we're liquidating. Supercore is the best waterproof floor with a lifetime warranty. Where are you going to find that anywhere else? Nowhere, let me tell you. $1.79, lifetime warranty. Come on down to Bristol Highway on your truck and trailer, and let's make a deal.
Gotta love this time of the year. Hoops here, home runs over there, and you've got to get your Tennessee on. And there's only one place, the best place to shop for your officially licensed Tennessee volunteer gear, Alumni Hall. Hands down, the best store for Vol fans. They've got the latest and greatest apparel for the entire family. Hats, man cave items, decor, and more. Get your Vols grill cover, a plate for your burgers, and of course, that chef's apron for all that outdoor grilling this spring. And accrue those rewards and watch your balance grow online or on the app. We'll see you at Alumni Hall and alumnihall.com and G to the B to the O, Alumni Hall.
It's always magnificent. Mondays on the Basilio Show, presented by our friends at Fleet Tire. I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. And now, back to B.
Tony B back with you. Let's go back to our phones. On a Monday, we celebrate Tennessee in the Sweet 16. I just appreciate so much these guys just gutting it out yesterday and getting to the round of 16. Hi, welcome in. You're on the air. And I think it's a great coaching job done by Rick Barnes. Just an awesome job by this team. Hi, welcome in. You're on the air.
How are my friends compatriots doing today?
Hey, Lynn.
Very, very, very happy. And I want to, first of all, give a shout-out to a name I hadn't heard for a while, Brant Packard. I worked with him in the in Tommy Bowl in the press box, you know, where the opposing radio used to be.
There you
He's
go.
A great guy.
Great guy. Awesome guy.
And my man of the game is my main black bear, I call him, J.P. Estrella, had two huge plays. He hit a 10-foot baseline jumper, nothing but net, I think, that gave us the 2-point lead. And then a little bit later when we were in scramble mode, the thing that drives us crazy, I think it was Ament that tried to throw him a pass. It was too high, and JP stretched just enough to tip it, and it caused a Virginia player to foul us. Do you remember that?
Absolutely. J.P. Estrella yesterday, Beanstar, was huge in that game. And he had some timely buckets in that game, Beanstar.
That was just basically a full roster victory there.
Yes. And I kind of remember talking about the Louisville game. I said, we've got about 10 guys that all contribute. And by golly, what you just said, Bino, a full roster game. We got contributions from everybody, which I love. That's the true team game right there.
No doubt about it.
But, yeah, we're in the Sweet 16, guys. I mean, I'm just going to be happy. And I'm with you guys. I was pulling for every SEC team to lose, but the heck with all that nonsense, you know.
Yeah.
I
out.
Still don't even think of Nebraska as a Big Ten team, you know.
I was glad to see the big. I was even though Nebraska won and they're supposedly in the Big Ten. When you've only won one tournament game in your history and you're going for the Sweet 16, hell, man, I'm cheering for them the rest of the way. That'd be great if they made the Final Four.
I feel the same way, Tony. As I watched that game, I was on Nebraska, but I was cheering more. I was cheering more for them to have that fan base to have something. You talk about wandering in the wilderness in men's sports with a fan base that absolutely loves it. They drove 6.5 hours. That's the most home court advantage I believe I've ever seen in an NCAA tournament neutral site game.
And those poor people are so desperate. They tried to put 100,000 people in a football stadium for a women's volleyball game, for Pete's sake.
Exactly.
So, yeah. But
they've earned it.
I'm so outraged. My friend and I said, obviously, these TV people have no idea about sports and are making these game times. There's only one team that's in either the mountain or western time zone. There's 15 that are in the central or eastern time zone left. And we got games starting at damn 10 o'clock at night.
How about this? You got a game in San Jose starting 4 o'clock their time.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the Sweet 16. It's March Madness.
Yep.
CBS and TNT could alternate, and they could have games like at 3, 5, 7, and 9. Yes, there'll be a little overlap, but look at all the overlap we're getting anyhow.
3 in the afternoon?
It's March Madness,
Are you huffing
3,
paint?
5, 7, and 9.
You huffing paint, sweetheart? Let me bring the great Rodney Woods in here now as part of W. Lynn's call. Rodney Woods, because I know it's going to pop W. Lynn that you're on the line. You're one of his heroes. Rodney Woods, and you're one of my heroes. Your thoughts on what we witnessed yesterday?
Well, great win. One I was hoping for, but I'm like most people. I didn't have a whole lot of confidence, just because of the kind of the history where we don't usually beat a seed that's higher than us.
Yep.
So I didn't feel great about that, but it was a heck of a win, and nobody says you can't go all the way. You just have to one game at a time and play and be prepared and play the best you can. I was really excited before the Miami game because I loved how the media was pumping Miami up, and I told my wife, I said, we'll wear them out because our guys are going to respect them. The only teams that team's going to beat people that don't respect them. And I said, our guys will guard them like they've never been guarded. And that game was over pretty quick. And but like yesterday though, I didn't have near the confidence in us that I had before the Miami game. I can tell you that.
Rodney, from a coaching perspective, Barnes, they did some things that they ordinarily haven't done. I mean, there were some adjustments made in the game defensively once they saw what Virginia was trying to do to them early on. When those guards started to get past us, they made some adjustments there after the first TV timeout. And then he burned all his timeouts during the game. I don't remember Rick Barnes running out of timeouts in a game. And I think they were smart. I think those were smart timeouts he took. At the critical junctures, he took them.
Yeah, they really were. And I thought which I think he's very, very competitive.
Yeah.
But I thought he coached as hard yesterday as I've seen him. I thought he was really into the game and every possession down. And the only thing I questioned was, how about maybe in practice that we have a segment. I used to have a segment every day as long as I coached. The first 10 minutes of practice before guys were even loose, the first 10 minutes were special situations. And I don't think I ever had a kid take the ball out of bounds and do what Ament did, because we were so disciplined to make sure the first thing before even stepping out of bounds, ask the official and make sure. I don't want the official to choke, and I don't want you to choke. Ask him, can I run the baseline or do I have a spot? Make sure you know before you even step out of bounds. And I thought, Ament did that once earlier in the year, and I thought, well, he'll never do that again. He'll learn from that, but did it again yesterday. So that was kind of disappointing to watch. But we had way too many turnovers down the stretch, and that's the thing about this game that's coming up. That's going to be what's so important, because those guys yesterday, they guarded Kentucky like they've never been guarded. And
Rodney, that's their oxygen. Their oxygen is taking the ball away from you. They were against Kentucky. Speak to that. What you saw with them, Iowa State.
Well, early in the game, when it got to be 20-8, my inner Matt Dixon came out.
Yes,
and I was hate watching there for a few minutes because my heart was telling me I want Kentucky to get beat. But my coaching brain was telling me we got a lot better chance beating Kentucky than we do Iowa State. And so, because I was kind of excited about, we get to play Kentucky again, we get to send them home back-to-back years.
Yes.
And that would be a great feeling. But I knew Iowa State was a much better team. And, boy, it reminded me a lot of watching the old Tarkanian teams and Nolan Richardson teams on defense. I mean, they were trapping and guys were rotating like crazy. I mean, they played when they got down 20-8. They played like they were down 12 and there was 4 minutes to go. And I thought they're going to kill themselves. They're going to wear themselves out. But boy, they played that way the rest of the day. They were really after them, and that's going to be a big challenge for us. Our spacing is going to be super important.
Yep.
And because the way they rotate defensively, there's somebody open, but you can't be too close to where the ball is, or it's going to get picked off. And I'd like to. One thing I'd like to see, Tony, with Ament, and I love the kid. I think he's going to be a terrific pro. In fact, he'll do better in the pros than he does here because the pro game's not near as physical and rough as college game is. They actually call fouls in the NBA. So he's going to do better, I think. But I'd like to see it because he's always matched up with somebody smaller than him. And if you notice, the smaller guards like 6'2", they're the ones that really give him fits because they get up under him. They get in his space and crowd him and make it hard for him to dribble. And, about the only way he's going to be able to get by him is push him off when it's like, I'd like to see us isolate him and post him on the block a time or two. Play him like a post guy for a trip or two and see what they do. Now, I'm sure they've tried that in practice, and I'm sure they've tried it in a game, and maybe what happens because when Estrella's in, when Okpara's in, nobody's going to guard them if they're 10 feet from the basket. So if you step those guys out to isolate Ament, the guy that's guarding them is probably not leaving. So now he's really double-teamed right there. So, but I'd still like to see, because he's got a great turnaround jumper in the lane. And with his back to the basket and he turns and goes up, I'd like to see him do that on the block a time or two and just to see what happens, to see if that frees him up just a little bit more. Because in the open court, those guys are quicker than him. I mean, they're 6'2", 6'3". They're a lot quicker than he is. And I'd like to see him take them inside and see what happens down there.
W. Lynn, jump in here with the great Rodney Woods. This is greatness interfacing with greatness as far as I'm concerned.
Rodney, you are definitely one of my sports heroes. I'm Bernard King's age. I entered school in 74, but, boy, I was going to games when you were playing, and you are part of what made me love Tennessee basketball. And I was just wondering if there's any way we could slip you in a game to shoot some free throws in the Sweet 16.
Oh, I was telling somebody the other day, I said, and I appreciate the nice things you said. I said, they said, boy, you hate Vanderbilt too, don't you? Not just Kentucky. And I said, that's the only place that I was ever spit on. And that's the only place that I got hit in the face with a cup of ice walking off the court when they were top 5 and we upset them in 74 at Nashville. And the F Troop, remember all that bunch? They won the SEC that year. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember exactly. I hit 4, it was a bonus. I hit 4 or 6 in a row. I don't remember right at the end of the game to seal the game. And when we were leaving the court, I got drilled right in the cheek with a cup of ice and just made a real small cut there, not much. Didn't feel good though. But so I've got I got a special hate for that bunch too.
I remember all those days. It was spit. I'd hear stories about spit, cigarette butts being thrown, all kind of crazy stuff from Kentucky.
At Vandy now, it wasn't in the arena, but there'd always be a group outside as you go in the arena there. There was a place where they could stand above you and they'd spit down on you.
What?
While you were walking in. Oh, yeah. 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 They had to be so sophisticated. They were kind of low class. But
you don't say. I got to talk to Plaster about that tomorrow.
So the next game they win will be one too many to suit me.
W. Lynn, thank you. You're the man. Bino, anything for the great Rodney Woods today as we interface with greatness?
Absolutely got something for Rodney. The great Matt Dixon usually sops up all Rodney's time on here. Rodney, it's good to talk to you. I could have gone all day without you mentioning F Troop. I hate that bunch. Still hate them today. I believe it was Ford, Fear, Fosness, Fart, and Fornicate, if I remember correctly.
Good.
Rodney, I wonder, I know this has to drive you crazy watching end games and the way that we have trouble with possessions and giving them away. I wonder, and watching a series of games out here in Vandy, that's not only our ailment. A lot of teams have trouble closing out games. And I wonder from your standpoint, how much that has to do with the fact that you have all these blended guards today and very few really true point guards that you hand the ball to and say, you run our team for 5 minutes. You think that has anything to do with it?
Yeah, I think the big thing, Bino, when teams quit being aggressive and they're just playing not to lose, that's when all those turnovers happen, when you do that. I learned from Coach Mears, and I tried to use this with all my teams. When other teams came at us hard, we tried to go to the basket just as hard. We attacked just as hard as they came at us because they're vulnerable back there because they're being so over-aggressive. And so I've always felt like, man, when somebody's after you in the last 2 minutes and you're up 2 points, don't try to hold the ball. Get the thing to the rim and score and get fouled. Get the ball to the rim. And I don't care what level it is, high school, college, you can't dribble around and hold the ball for 30 and 40 seconds. You can't do it. In college, you got the shot clock. But I've seen high school teams be up 5 or 6 with a minute and a half to go, and they're holding the ball, and somebody's going to turn it over. It's not, you cannot do it. It's just the other team, when they're that aggressive, you're playing a little slower because you're trying not to lose the ball. And when you play like that, I think that's when you're in trouble. I think you just go right. I just think you go right back at them and get the ball to the rim and stick it in. And I always I always felt like, and I think most coaches would, I'd rather not be holding the ball up 3 when I got a chance to guard them and be up 5.
Hey, Rodney, I got to keep it. Hold your thought there, because I want to ask you a follow-up question regarding that, and just the state of this team coming into Friday, and really go back to Amen as well. Everybody hold their thoughts. Let's keep it live and legal here. Hour number 2, we're about to enter.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
And we are live on your Fan Run Radio. It's hour number 2. William Pattison is on the way next on the Wheels of Steel. Former Tennessee great and member of the Kentucky Basketball Hall of Fame, Rodney Woods, joining us. Hall of Fame high school co-chair. And the guy that found Chris Lofton back in the day, and Lofton now helping out on the Vol Network, which is a beautiful thing. It's all coming full circle, and it's all coming back to me, Celine Dion. But Rodney Woods joins. Hey, Rodney, it came up on our post-game yesterday, and Maury was talking about this. Generally, officials will say a couple things, and they'll let the ball, the inbound man know that you cannot walk with the ball here. Several people have commented, including a couple people today on our YouTube chat, and I had a couple friends reach out to me and text me and say they saw Ament talking to the official before he walked with the ball. It looks to me, Rodney, and you coach kids, Ament is not physically able to do the things that he wants to do on the court. And it sort of bled over into his mental game yesterday. And now he was back in mental block city with inbounding the ball. Do you think this staff realizes that and takes the ball out of his hands, hopefully? Because it looked like he was back in that mental block thing that he was having earlier in the year when he's just such a splendid player. Why put that pressure on him to inbound the ball? What do you think the staff's thinking when they constantly have him inbounding the ball, when really he should be the guy they're getting the ball into because he's their best foul shooter? What do you think they're thinking? Can you walk us through that?
Probably they're thinking because of his size, and he is a good passer. They're probably looking at size. When Gillespie took it out, they had him take it out the next time, and there was a bigger guy on him on the baseline, and he made that bad pass because I think he had a tough time seeing around that guy. And I think they're probably thinking, Ament's one of our best passers, might be their best passer, to be honest with you, because he really, most of the time when he drives, if he doesn't shoot, he finds the open guy. So I think that's probably what they're thinking is his size. And the official was probably telling him, most officials, and especially, guys at that level that are good officials, I'm sure they told him he couldn't run the baseline, and he probably just panicked, just panicked there and took off running with it, and that was tough to watch. I hated that for him because I texted you yesterday.
Yeah,
I've got a tremendous amount of respect for that kid. To me, I'm going to watch him play from now on. I'm going to pull for him when he gets to the NBA because it is rare for these kids like him. And he must, I don't know a lot about him, but he must be from a really good family because he seems like a great character kid. And I just love the idea that he didn't let his teammates down. He's still fighting. I've got a lot of people don't have a problem with it, but I got a big problem, Tony, with these guys that opt out of bowl games. Because I know what their thinking is and what they're being told, but at the same time, you come to a school like University of Tennessee, they helped get you where you're going to go. The fans helped you, your teammates helped you, and when you sit out of that game, you're not just you might be thinking you're taking care of yourself, but you are hurting. Even though those bowl games don't mean anything to a player like that, they mean a lot to the fans, and it means a lot to the guys that are playing. And you can get hurt, just like the defensive back at Tennessee that got hurt during Christmas break last year, just working out by himself, and then he missed the whole year. You can get hurt doing that. So what's the difference in getting hurt there, playing a football game and maybe getting hurt, or a basketball game? I don't get that mentality. To me, it's just extremely selfish. And I know they've got people in their ears telling them, you don't need to do this. I don't know about the big kid at Kentucky. I don't. Maybe he was hurt, but all that money into a guy and he plays one game or two games, and then the kid at Louisville, they were a different team when he played. And I don't know for sure, but I don't think his injury was that bad. I think he was probably, like Ament, he was probably in some pain. He was hurting, and boy, you're just letting everybody down. I don't get it. I don't understand that. So I've been really impressed with Ament fighting through this and playing. He's not 100%, but I'll take him at 70% any day of the week.
You know what was incredible to me about him was the way he kept falling down and getting back up yesterday. And then late in the game, when they had to have those points, he drove it right inside, knowing I'm going to come down on this bad ankle, but I've got to get to the foul line here. That's selling out for your teammates, Rodney, when you play through that pain.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for a guy of his stature.
Those taller guys, too, when they have those lower leg injuries, it takes a lot longer than it does somebody 5'10" like me. It's a lot tougher, but I liked what he said the other day in one of the interviews. Somebody asked him if he was going to play, and he said he was going to play. He didn't care what anybody said. He was going to play. And I thought, daggone, that's got to. And he seems to be very, very unselfish when he plays too, I think. At times, I thought he was a little too unselfish. I'd like to seen him shoot it a few more times. But he was on a heater there until those injuries. He had really gotten comfortable. And the game for him, it had finally slowed down, and he was playing at a speed like everybody else. Yep. Which he didn't do early in the season. Yep. And it had some, I think the speed of the game bothered him for a while, and then I think he got a lack of confidence, and then I thought he went through a phase there for 2 or 3 games where he wanted to do it to be good so bad that he was doing too much, and he was forcing things. And so I thought he went through 2 or 3 phases there, but boy, he really figured it out there back. I don't remember what game, but a couple of games there right before that Kentucky game. And that first half at Kentucky, he looked like a lottery pick. He looked like that kind of player. So
let me ask you one more thing before you jump. And Rodney Woods joins. And by the way, Bino, if you want to jump back in here, or you, Bry, jump back in here. But Rodney, I know you got a role here shortly, but this Jacoby Gillespie guy, this is fun. This is interesting, right? I happen to have something pop up on my phone. It was like a Maryland sort of chat board kind of thing. I don't know why it popped up. Maybe because I was talking about it, my phone was listening to me. But they were talking about him. And they were saying, hey, I'm so happy for that kid because he was only here for a year, but he represented himself with such class. They're mad at that coach who went to Villanova. They don't like that guy. Even a little bit there at Maryland. So when he left, all the players left. But I think Gillespie is probably going to come back home anyway. And he gave Tennessee a big discount in doing so. And he kind of drives me nuts. But he makes winning plays. And they were talking about him, how in their Sweet 16 run last year with the Crab 5 up there, he just did winning things at winning times. And he does do maddening things. And he's not a pure point guard. But your thoughts on just his kind of courageous play here and how he played yesterday so well?
Yeah, I thought maybe I didn't want to lose. I didn't want to lose to Vandy, of course, or anybody in the SEC tournament. But that was probably a good thing for us because I thought he looked a lot more fresh in these 2 games than he did down the stretch the last 3 or 4. I thought he really looked tired, and I thought he didn't shoot it well at all. And so I thought that was good. But he is a winner, and he's got a lot of confidence. That guy does. I think even at his size, I think he feels like he can take anybody and score anytime he wants to, and that's great to have a guy like that. I did want to put something over his mouth yesterday there when he was doing the interview after the game. Coach Mears always had a saying. He would say, say little when we lose and say less when we win. And he said we're the best defensive team in the country, and I'm thinking, have you watched Iowa State play? Don't motivate them any more defensively than they already are. They're already at a level. I think I saw where they were like fourth in the country in forcing turnovers, and so that's probably going to be the biggest. That's going to be the biggest facet of the game on Friday is us taking care of the basketball. And if we do that, we got a good chance. It's going to be tough because I think this will be the toughest group we faced since we played Houston earlier in the year.
And this Lipsy guy, their point guard, Rodney, and you played that position, that is one tough hombre.
Yeah.
Played like a million games, won like a million games. Will get in there, will stick his head in there, will try to get the ball out of your hands, does not take a possession off. I mean, he is one tough hombre.
That might be the matchup of the tournament between he and Gillespie.
No question.
Gillespie's got a lot of that in him also.
Yes, sir. Those two guys are knock on back down. Hey, Bino, do you have any, or Brian, do you guys have any other thoughts for the great Rodney Woods, who's blessed us with some time here?
No, just really great to get an opportunity to talk to Rodney. And Rodney, be well, and thanks for supporting the show.
But I'll use an old softball saying that my coach had when we had the Star Path team. Our pitcher was a great player, but he didn't hit many home runs. And when he would hit one, the coach would yell out, "There's one we didn't count on." And when Boswell made those threes yesterday, I looked at my wife and I said,
"Amen.
There's three we didn't count on. There's 6 we didn't count on. There's 9. There's 12 we didn't count on." So, but he looked good shooting it. But I thought yesterday was the first time I've seen him actually be ready to shoot and not think about it when he caught it. He just caught it and shot it. And that's
explain that to me. Explain that to me.
You can't shoot if you only shoot because there's nothing else to do with it.
Explain that to me from a coaching perspective, why he caught that ball and shot it. Did they tell him?
I think he was told to.
Yeah.
I think he was told in practice that you're going to be open and you need to have your feet set and you just catch and don't think about it. You just catch and shoot. You're open. He's always trying to get closer, and Coach Mears always yelled, "Closer is not always better. Open is better." And so, just catch the thing if you're open and nail it. Don't think about it. And I thought he had a pretty good-looking stroke on him there yesterday.
Ron, you've lived among those Kentucky mouth breathers for so long. It's probably a normalcy now to watch people just breathing out their mouths and slobbering down their faces and this, that, and the other. But I got to ask you something. When you think about the fact that in 6 consecutive tournaments we've gone further than them, can you wrap your alleged mind around that? I mean, is that bizarre or what?
It's. I always thought Tennessee could be where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I played, I thought at that time, this is the second best job in this conference behind Kentucky's job as a coach. It's the second best. It's the second best fan base for basketball.
Mm-hmm.
It was the number 1 fan base for football, but it was the second best one for basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought there was a chance for it to be, but I didn't think. I thought we could do that, but I didn't think Kentucky would be like they are. No, I didn't think they would kind of fallen off like this. But it's of course they had a couple of injuries to what was supposed to be probably 2 of their top 3 players. And I'm sure that, they would have definitely been a different team with those guys healthy, but I still don't think they were going to be what they're used to. what they have, that kind of team. But it's unusual for them to bow out this early, this many years in a row. There's no question about that.
Buying horses over there in Keeneland just doesn't pay for what it once did, man.
Well, everybody else can pay now too. So
you got it, my brother.
Kind of like Alabama football.
Rodney, I do have one more quick one for you. I'm sure you had opportunities. Did you ever consider coaching college basketball after you were established in high school?
You know, if the rules were like they are now, I probably would have stayed in it. I was I was a graduate assistant at Tennessee for a year, and then my first paid coaching job, I was an assistant at LMU, and that was 2 years. That was the second year I was out at Tennessee, and I hated it because, and even when I was at Tennessee as a graduate assistant, I didn't like it because you could go watch a guy play 25 times during the season. You could live, like we got a hotel room in Canton, Ohio, so that a coach could be there, stay a week at a time and trade out, one coach, another coach, and basically give Phil Hubbard a ride home every day after school. And we had a hotel room there for like 2 months. And here's a great story on that. One of the coaches was up there, and Phil Hubbard had narrowed it to Tennessee, Kentucky, and Michigan. And so he finally cuts it down. He finally cuts it down to Michigan and Kentucky. The coach calls Coach Mears, tells him, and instead of coming home, Coach says, stay there and make sure he doesn't go to Kentucky. And so the coach is going, what am I supposed to do? How can I do that? But anyway, a few days later, he commits to Michigan. So that coach, he did his job, even though he didn't do anything.
Absolutely next level, Rodney.
But you had to, you were never home if you were an assistant. Yeah. You were gone all the time, and I didn't like that. I wanted to coach. I wanted to be on the floor. I didn't want to run around all over the country. Now you're limited in how many times you can go, and basically they don't hardly go watch them at all anymore. They watch them on the weekends in those AAU tournaments, and they don't have to go during the season. When I played high school, Tennessee sent a coach to watch me play 17 games in a row. There was one coach there, whether it would be the freshman coach, the third assistant, the fourth one, Coach Mears. Coach Mears came to watch me the day they lost at Kentucky in 1971 in March or late February, early March. He rented a car, and he and his wife Dana drove from Lexington to basically almost the Tennessee line to Middlesboro to watch me play in the district championship, and came and still had his orange blazer on from the game. Didn't even change clothes or anything. But you don't have to do that anymore. So to me, it's a lot better now because coaches actually they're not on the road, 24/7.
Rodney, you're my man. I love you. I appreciate you, and thank you. It's always great to visit with you.
All right, good to talk to you.
Hey,
guys.
my best to Peyton. Is Peyton still around?
He's still there. Yeah.
Have him reach out, man. I want to talk to that kid.
He works at a counseling firm. He's a counselor out in Maryville.
I love him.
And he also works at one of the hospitals on Saturdays there. He counsels there also.
Hey, tell him, if you can, Rodney, if you get an opportunity, we might need his services midnight on Friday. Thank you, Rodney.
And tell Matt, I'll see you at the Kentucky-Tennessee baseball series. Let's play in Lexington.
I love you and Matt. And by the way, can you do me a favor? Go down in your basement and drop a 2 for me later on. Thank you, Rodney.
Now I've got it down in the bowl. There's a big UK decal.
See? Nobody believes me.
I have added a Florida one, a Vanderbilt, and Alabama and Georgia, the ones that I hate the most.
Rodney,
so I've
thank
added
you.
those.
Thank you,
the
brother.
Others, Texas and all of Oklahoma, they'll probably get there someday, but the others are really at the top of the list.
Oh, thank you, Rodney. Good talking to you.
All right.
I love him.
That's beautiful.
And Peyton, you out there doing counseling? I came so close a couple years ago to going and getting a degree in that and getting out of this. And came very, very close. So good for you, Peyton, for doing that. That's awesome, man. Good for you. 2 of the worst chats back-to-back maybe I've ever seen in my life. Vandy Daddy, Vandy Dandy, VD we call him, has entered the chat, and he says the following on YouTube. Iowa State money line for 5K looks pretty tempting. Hey, VD. Nothing's stopping you, my brother. The water's warm, and the shot is up, and it's no good. Just like that take. And then that's followed by these 2 brain donors who just and this back to our phones guy is on a real brain doning heater today over at YouTube. He says the following: Boswell has no business being on an SEC roster. Now, Bino, I've heard of some bad takes in my day. After a guy saves your bacon and shoots you through to a round, Bino, I'll let you handle that one, Beanstar.
Tony, I frequently partake of the show now when I'm not on it.
Yes.
Watching.
Yes.
The chat. I really like it. But you do have a cross section of IQs there. It's good. It's good human study.
And some of them have what we call well, we take a brief time out and come back to the phones. I am hoping you don't have keys to anything that has a motor. I'm not sure I'd let you operate a moped, my friend. As we continue on the other side, no offense to you. I mean, I'm not trying to launch on you. Let's take a brief time out and come back. Happy 35th anniversary to my lovely bride, Laura, who all these years, let me tell you something. If it ain't for her, there's no way I'm behind this microphone right now. I'm not sure I'm alive if it isn't from her. So I praise God for her every day and cherish her as we continue with more on the other side. And she's probably thinking to herself, why? Why? As we continue with more right after this.
It's the hottest postgame show on the planet. Garza Law. Fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, I'll just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm gonna hop online and I'm gonna get them ordered. Hold up, that's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. Trust me, it's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics? They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high schools, youth leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, It's SM Athletics.
When a dangerous, overgrown, or storm-damaged tree is threatening your home, your car, or your family, don't risk it. Call ECR Total Landscapes, your local tree cutting experts. From precision tree removal and trimming to emergency storm cleanup, ECR Total Landscapes has the equipment and the experience to get the job done safely and efficiently. Call today to set up your free estimate, 865-384-2012, or just go online to ecrtotallandscapes.com.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama Zizi approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and Zizi.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols!
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
VIP Play coming soon. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Achillio here, and you know my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from B. Online at carnesmotor.com. Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company.
From the sunrise over the Smokies to the Saturday cheers at Neyland Stadium, Knoxville isn't just where we live, it's home. But let's be honest. Finding your perfect spot in a hot market can feel like a full-time job. Whether you're looking for a Craftsman in 4th and Gill, a family home in Farragut, or a view in South Knox, the market moves fast. You need more than a listing. You need an edge. And that's where I come in, Jennifer Morris with Keller Williams Realty. And I specialize in helping Knoxville buyers win. I don't just find houses, I find the right fit for your budget and your lifestyle. Ready to unlock your front door? Visit nextmovesmokymountains.com or call me at 865-694-5904. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com. And as always, go Vols.
It's always magnificent. Mondays on the Basilio Show, presented by our friends at Fleet Tire. I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. And
now back to B. And you know what? You can't spell basketball without a B. And so back to our phones. I've seemed to have touched a nerve with this individual who I didn't call him stupid or anything. I didn't launch on the guy. I just basically said, we've had some silly, goofy take. Look, we have a copper card call the show. What would you give, Brian? What would you give for the worst take on the can't give him a copper card. Like, I don't know, like McDonald's gift certificates or something? No offense to McDonald's. I mean, back to our phones. The guy had 4 threes. Listen, I think the guy's been kind of a black hole this year at 2 guard, okay? But the guy had 4 threes and 9 assists and 0 turnovers in a game, and you're on here saying he doesn't belong on a Division I roster? Or an SEC roster? I think that's a little harsh. And I think that qualifies you for brain donor status. No offense. I mean, and then he says to me, Bino, he says to me, what is your background? Hang on. You're pretty quick to call people dumb or stupid. Just curious about your basketball background. Well, if you must know, I played the game growing up. I played the game in a CYO program at St. Pat's. I played the game growing up on several teams. I was around some of the great coaches in my formative years, including the great Ray Mears, who took me under wing. Got to study some film with the great Kevin O'Neill. Loved the sport. Grew up in Philadelphia when it was, especially college hoops, when it was really blowing and going in the big 5 years. Spent many, many days at Old McGonigal Hall. Came under the wing of the great Sonny Hill in the living room. And spent thousands of hours talking about it. Post-game shows, spending time with experts like the great Maury Hanks and C and those types of people, and try to get a blend for the human side, the computer element of the sport, and have a pretty decent feel for the game. Enough a feel not to launch on a guy after he had a career game shooting us through to another round, you punk and clown. Brian Hartman, your thoughts on what we're witnessing. Give me a little breakdown. You're preparing a breakdown for the blog of the 16 teams left. Brian, talk to me.
Well, 9 of them were in the Sweet 16 last year. Mm-hmm. And you still have half of last year's Final Four still alive, but Florida and Auburn, Florida's out, but Duke and Houston can go back-to-back Final Fours. Mm-hmm. What's interesting is Iowa State last year lost to Ole Miss 91-78 in the second round. Ole Miss was the 6th seed, and Iowa State was the 3 seed. Mm-hmm. So Iowa State lost to an SEC team last year, and now they're facing an SEC team, a second SEC team in a row. They had to face Tennessee State and then Kentucky, and now they get to face Tennessee State's big brother in Knoxville, which is interesting. Path to get there.
Bino, Jeff.
I don't know if that's what Tennessee is 3-3 against the other Sweet 16 teams this year, by the way. They beat Houston and Texas, split with Bama, lost to Illinois and Arkansas. So, I mean, why not us?
Why not us?
They can beat some of these high-quality teams.
My hope is this, all kidding aside from all these guys I'm having fun with right now. If you get this far, and you've gotten this far with a guy that's banged up, let's do something legendary. And this guy, that was a legendary effort by him yesterday. Someone said, well, you know, I mean, the Ken Palm doesn't play basketball games. And that kid was out there on one leg, willing us. And Boswell willing us. And Okpara willing us. And Virginia played offensively in the second half at a really, really high clip. And we got through them. It was a really impressive win. Remember, games aren't played by computers. They're played by humans. And we're pretty flawed. And we did some of that crazy stuff that we do and still got through. Why not us? Why not Alabama? Just go out there Friday night. You know, we got this late night thing now. How about this? Alabama goes out there Friday night and shoots the damn lights out, shoots Michigan out of the tournament. We go out on Friday night and play the game of our lives. We're on here till 4 o'clock in the morning. We have an Elite Eight matchup with Alabama on Sunday, a guy that Barnes lock, stock, and barrel owns. I want you to close your eyes. That could happen. Did anybody have Iowa, a 10-point dog, doing what they did yesterday to Florida? Did anybody have that? Look, there are no mid-majors, so Tennessee could be a little Cinderella here. As a 6. We get a shot at the 2. Historically, I think we're like 1-9 against the 2 seed in this thing. Historically. Why not? Why not us? Why not bust the bracket open?
I know what it is about cheering for SEC teams, but the best path forward for the Vols, if you're thinking Final Four, is for Alabama to beat Michigan.
Hey, Bino, I'm cheering for that SEC team. How about you, Bino?
Without question, I'm cheering for Alabama in that
yes.
game.
Rodney Woods even said himself that the best path for Tennessee would have been Kentucky beating Iowa State.
Yes.
And I thought that last week.
Yes.
But I'll never not be happy when Kentucky loses and goes home.
That's exactly right.
Because for that team to get to the Sweet 16 after the season they had would be an insult to the sport and a crime on humanity.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That Kentucky team.
865-200-5402. And Bino, all year long, somebody said it. All year long. It's these maddening teams. It's these teams that make you flat out nuts. Watch this team jump in there and be the one that does it. You are, as far as I'm concerned, you are 40 minutes away from that occurring. 80 minutes away from uncharted territory. Why not this team?
Well, Tony, my contention's always been that it'll be the one that we least expect to make the Final Four that finally does it. Whether this team can overcome the number of flaws they have to get there, who knows? But this is a team that I, without question, had no expectations that they would come close to making a Final Four. So,
I still have no expectations.
Oh, no.
I'm going to be honest.
No.
This Iowa State team we're playing is really, really good. And that performance they put on in the second half against Kentucky without one of the best players in America, and that Jefferson kid, that was unbelievable. Unbelievable how well they played.
Where I come from, we call that, Bino, tramping on the gas.
Yeah.
Do you feel me on that? They took the gas in the second half on offense and defense and tramped right on it. And I mean, if you didn't see the last 10 minutes of that game, they swallowed them. Let's go to the phones. Happy trails, Greg McDermott at Creighton, who's retiring. Great coach. Brian, have you ever had this thought? He looks like Bob Baskerville, who's on with Dubsy in the afternoon. Or is Dubsy on with him? I don't know. Inquiring minds want to know, Bob. Are you on with Dubsy, or is Dubsy on with you? Or am I trying to sow discord, Bino? That's not my, what do you say, Bino? That's not my style, is it?
No, it is not, Tony. You're known as the dean of discord, but I stand against it.
To go back to the Vols, Jonesy has a good point about Tennessee. Tennessee just makes teams uncomfortable. They really do. That Virginia team didn't know what hit them in that first half. When those officials let the Vols get out there and grab and hold out there and run teams off that three-point line, you could forget about it. Somehow, Virginia in the second half, they got on track now. They got in the groove. They got in the groove, man. But should we get Ewad on to break down how Cincinnati beat this Iowa State team, or is that just part of a long season, Bri? What do you think?
Well, that might actually give fans some hope.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, though. Iowa State has only been to 2 Elite Eights ever.
That's right.
And they went in 1944 when they went to the Final Four. Of course, it wasn't known as the Final Four then, but 1944 and 2000 are their Elite Eight appearances. They're going to be – I'd have to think that they're playing in Chicago. Their fan base is going to try to take over that arena.
Yes.
And they're going to have tremendous expectations. They played so well against Kentucky, and they have legitimate expectations. Tennessee has nothing to lose in this game. Alabama really has nothing to lose in their game. And you just have to wonder if that could play to Tennessee's advantage somewhat.
Here's a crazy number for you. Tennessee, something's got to give them. We go to the phones. And I promise you I'm going right to the phones because I practice phone discipline today. Lammy just said, Dixon's right. I pay too much attention to the chat, Bino. I love the chat. My chatters, there's 258 people on the YouTube channel right now. They provide content. They provide mirth. They provide good information. That James Daniel IV guy's got great takes. There are some guys in there that are very courageous. Some of them have been banished for a day, for a week, and they get right back up again. Chumpawamba, tub thumping. Tennessee is 1-9 all-time versus top teams in the NCAA tournament. Second lowest win percentage of any team, minimum 10 games. Iowa State is 1-6 all-time in the Sweet 16. Lowest winning percentage, any team, minimum 7 games. Shout out to the CBS research team, and this is from the great Ben McKees, who was courtside last night, styling and shall I say, filing, kiss, stealing, wheeling, dealing, son of a gun, woo, woo, last night. Go to our phones. Bino, something's got to give Friday, man. These are two kind of, shall we say, loser programs stuck in the Sweet 16 here, meeting each other.
Yeah, 2 programs without a great deal of tournament success, Tony. So, high success. So, yeah, something's got to give.
Back to our phones we go. Ben McKee, you look good courtside, son. You look good courtside, son. Pretty weak woo by me, but I'm pretty allergic right now. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
What's up, everyone? It's Music City Sam.
There he is. Sammy back for the crown. The Copper Card call the show every single time he calls in. He is the reigning champion.
Hey, I don't know if Bishop Boswell can play on an SEC team, but he sure could on an ACC team because he cooked one last night.
He cooked them. He cooked those dudes, man. No question.
Filet of fish is what he gave them.
Hey, Sam, how surprised were you? Because Maury called me early in the game. He could not believe the difference in the athleticism and size of Tennessee versus Virginia. And when you put them side by side on the court yesterday, isn't that just the damn truth? That they look like a mid-major basketball team compared to what we do in our weight room.
Well, Parham to me is probably our most underrated player. His athleticism to be able to get out on guards and get back to positions, blocking shots. I mean, I'm sure a lot of teams run into him and think, good night, where's that dude from?
Yeah, he's perfect.
We've got guys like that.
Dixon.
I mean, I know Kerry drives us nuts, but he can knock people straight off the block, no matter how big they are.
Dixon has a great point when he says that he's probably our best center in the Barnes era. When you think about what they want these bigs to do, which sometimes entails maddeningly sometimes picking up guys 30 feet from the basket, he just moves like a gazelle out there. Hey, Bino, a couple of his defensive plays yesterday were some all-time great stuff, what we saw from Okpara.
No question, in absolutely the most critical time. When it's easy to take a head fake, it's easy to do this, do that. You're anxious. He was just a man under there at a time when we absolutely had to have him.
Yeah, he is. I mean, this team is obviously maddening, but really, what college team isn't to some extent? I said something a couple months ago. Whenever Cade Phillips went out, Felix Okpara was the only one that had played really significant minutes returning on this team. So all the maddening stuff they do isn't overly surprising to me over the course of the season. But this team at this time of year, I don't think they're going to be out of many games. There's only been 2 or 3 games all year where we didn't have a chance to win it in the last couple minutes. And they've had 7 losses by 5 points or less.
Yep.
It just takes them getting on a run, making a couple extra layups, getting a tip ball here or there, and they can win any game they're in. I'm not convinced that other teams don't look at Tennessee and think the same thing we think of Iowa State. They're not looking at Tennessee thinking that's going to be an easy game.
I don't think there's any question about that. We're getting a foremost expert for Iowa State on the air here in the next couple of days. He's the it guy there. Brian, I'm getting ready to text you that. Maury's lined it up for us, but I'll tell you this. When Iowa State looks at Tennessee, they've got to think, man, we're looking in the mirror here. Because they are looking in the mirror. And they're also going to fight the history of what they do in this round. This is generally when they exit the tournament. Now, this guard they have, this point guard, and the way they can rip the ball out of your hands, they're pretty damn good at that. We're going to have to be a lot tighter with the basketball than we were on Sunday if we're going to get through, right, Bino? Otherwise, they're going to come out of there with 8 or 10 steals on us if we're not careful. That's my concern.
We would both Gillespie and Amen have to be a whole lot stronger with the basketball.
Yeah, because these guys, that's what they do. They attack the ball.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be the best game so far in the tournament, or one of them.
Oh, it's gonna be a great game. It's gonna be a great game. It's a shame. Now, I was talking to one of my friends that's in television who explained something to me. He said, Tony, they put that game at 10:30 because it's a Friday night, and a lot of people are going to stay up and watch it. He said it's actually really a compliment to Tennessee. They think that game will do a big number. They're not burying that game. And I'm going, can't you play the game? Why would you play the game in San Jose at 4 o'clock local time? It just doesn't make any sense to have West Coast games and have West Coast games going off in the early window. And he said, well, it's a worse game in this one. They're burying that game. They want this Tennessee-Iowa State game, and people have gotten used to seeing Tennessee play to the deep middle of these tournaments. They're a brand name now on television. I think it's an interesting perspective worth repeating.
It is. I still don't understand any sporting event starting past 9 o'clock.
Totally agree with that.
I don't get that at all.
And you're in Nashville, so for you, this game starts at 9:30. That's even late for you. Because let me tell you something. If you think this game's starting at 10 o'clock or 10:10, as Brant Packer wrote today, whose father was a CBS all those years, minimum 10:30 Eastern time. Minimum 10:30 Eastern time. Minimum.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's probably the worst thing about the game being in Chicago is they're going to have a lot of Iowa State fans there. That's not a super far drive for them, I don't think. And I just know a lot of Tennesseans don't want to drive to Chicago.
Yep.
Because I've driven that many times. It's not fun at all.
No, I've driven it too. You have to go through all the windmills to get up there, and you got to go through Gary, Indiana, who gave us the Jackson 5.
Next level.
Thank you, my brother. I'm going back to Indiana. Bino, what's your favorite Jackson 5 jam? Do you have one? You're probably a dancing machine guy.
I do. I want to be where you are.
I knew you'd call out a ballad, Bino. I think Michael's vocal performance on I'll Be There was pretty good. And him and Jermaine splitting the vocal there.
Never Can Say Goodbye is
Never
also
Can
really
Say
good.
Goodbye. Clifton Davis wrote that song. That's a great tune. That's a great song. Young Michael Jackson, before he did whatever he did to himself, that voice was as pure as the driven snow. And his voice on the Off the Wall record, when he sung She's Out of My Life, and even Thriller, Bino, when he did a couple of those Rod Temperton tunes. What was the one? Stay with me. I want Lady of My Life. That's a beautiful song. Stanley Jordan
Off the Wall's
guitar.
fantastic. Girlfriend's the hidden gem on Off the Wall.
Girlfriend. I think Pebbles did that one. How could you let him treat you so bad? All right, let me
wrong
song.
one.
All right, let me shout out my friends at VIP Play, then we go back to the phones. You get NIT action tonight. You got, I saw Stephen F. and Pearl in action with the NIT last night. Bri, did I see that?
Yeah, they beat Seattle, and they're headed to the Elite Eight of the NIT.
How about that? I give Stephen Pearl a lot of credit for those kids not laying down. He had one kid opt out, and he said, well, who cares? You don't play. We don't want you here. Go do your thing. I give Stephen Pearl a lot of credit here. He's raising the banner. He's carrying the banner right now for the SEC. How many other SEC teams, Bri, alive in the NIT?
There are none. Auburn's the only Power 4 conference team or Power Conference team that's playing in the NIT right now. The 8. They're the only one from the Power Conference.
I got to ask Bino
Steve
Jeff
Forbes
if he
and Wake
respects
Forest
that.
lost last night at home.
Yep.
So they're out.
Bino Jeff, do you respect it?
The NIT?
Do you respect the fact that they're playing in it, that Auburn's playing in it?
Oh, I absolutely respect it. Tony, Rodney was mentioning, and I know this is an old man view that we hold, but there was an old beer commercial, and I can't remember which one.
Yep.
But it was a spoof on selfishness of professional players, supposedly at that time. Mm-hmm. I can't even remember what the character's name was, but somebody said to him, "Hey, there's no I in team." And his response was, "Yeah, there ain't no we either." And I'm afraid that that's too much the viewpoint of the modern player. The team really doesn't mean a whole lot to them.
Pretty next level. It's sad, is what it is. I'll tell you another thing, it's sad. Second straight year, and the only time it's happened, no mid-major teams in the Sweet 16. You know what's going to happen next year? It's going to be the third straight year. You know what's going to happen after that? The fourth straight year. You know what we've done? Pulled the charm out of the tournament. You know why? Because Tennessee's going to rate a couple mid-major players. Watch and see. They're involved with a couple.
But I think what that does is create better matchups from here on.
Oh, no question,
and
Brian.
Probably better game because you get one of those teams in the Sweet 16, or Elite 8, and they just get blown out by 30, which has happened several times.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
We're heading for a showdown, ladies and gentlemen, and we're heading for an overtime. Get in with us. The great William Pattison on the way.
Hey, I'm Alan, and we ship floors on Bristol Highway in Johnson City.
Tell him, Alan.
Are you tired of walking around on that ratty-looking carpet that you have? Well, today's your lucky day because we have Supercore on sale for $1.79. 58 colors we're liquidating. Supercore is the best waterproof floor with a lifetime warranty. Where are you going to find that anywhere else? Nowhere, let me tell you. $1.79, lifetime warranty. Come on down to Bristol Highway on your truck and trailer and let's make a deal.
You got to dream about buying some land and building on that land? Well, Waterside Contracting is your ticket. 25 years of making dreams come true, Michael Scott. For hundreds in our area, custom homes or remodels, Waterside Contracting will build on your lot. They do incredible work all over the area. Structural integrity, quality without compromise. It's a way of life with Waterside Contract. Check out the wonderful work Waterside does. WatersideContractingLLC.com. When it's time for your dreams to come true. Quality without compromising. Waterside Contracting.
College football fans, Chris Fowler here with the play call. This season, go for Dose with ice-cold, refreshing Dos Equis. It's more than a single play. It's a mindset. Think of it as a 2-point conversion for real life. Taking the risk, making the bold move. Whenever we get the chance to go big, we take it. On the field and off, always go for Dose with Dos Equis.
Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis Lager Especial Beer. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care. I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Tony Basilio here, and I got the great Chad Stockton of FC Alliance 2026. Chad, do you believe we've made it?
Boys and girls teams start off the new year at big national event showcases. We got our younger kids training indoors and doing a lot of things to get better. So we're excited about what the future holds.
Chad, I hear the juice behind you. I hear the kids. Your program reaches throughout East Tennessee. If folks want to get involved, what's the advice?
We're easy to get in touch with. We offer players at all ages, all levels, all experience. We have a program for all of our kids that we have, and we're excited for anyone to join us.
And even some Lady Vols as well. Several college players all over the country, yes?
Absolutely. We had a lot of girls that we were able to watch play in the NCAA tournament. A lot of our former players made big runs through the tournament. We're so excited for them.
Growing the beautiful game. In this, the year of the World Cup in North America, celebrate the beautiful game. Get your child involved. FCAllianceKnox.org. That's FCAllianceKnox.org. And Chad, thank you, man. Keep growing the beautiful game.
Absolutely, Tony, and thank you very much.
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apple
apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local. Eat good. Shout them out, ladies and gentlemen, because the great William Patterson's on the way next. We'll stay here and do a little overtime.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
You know, I can't do too much overtime today because it's my 35th anniversary, and I don't want to make the lovely mad. But she knows I'm a sicko, and she knows we're in the Sweet 16. And she knows I'm pretty pumped. And she knows we did 3 hours last night. And she knows we're both exhausted. And she kind of conked out last night listening to the show. And then I went upstairs last night, and she says, I was looking for you. Because she had to come down and upload the program. I knew she'd wake up eventually. I didn't want to wake her up. So I went and laid down, in a different area. I didn't want to wake her up. She said, I'm looking for you. I was worried about you. I said, well, what do you think? I went out for, a beer or something. Bino, how exciting. Tell the living listener, before you go back to the phones, how fun it is to watch the tourney in Las Vegas, and then we'll go back to the phones.
Yeah, Tony, and happy anniversary to you and Laura. That's a wonderful milestone. Congratulations. You got a great family, something to really be proud of. Tony, it's just the game never really ends out here. It doesn't matter what the score is. There's always something still at stake. People are watching teams that are leading by 26 points with a minute and a half left, where they would be nowhere else in the country. It's either the spread. If it's not the spread, it's a total. If it's not a total, it's a team total. There's always something going on in the game. But there's very, very few situations where you've got a game that is totally irrelevant from a betting standpoint to everyone in the sports book until the clock runs completely out. So it's just you've got people living and dying with every shot late in a 8-point game. It's just an amazing atmosphere. I just really enjoy the tournament, the early rounds of the tournament out here.
It's wonderful. Bino, walk us inside just from a viewer guide or a visitor guide. I hear in some of those sports books now, because Vegas has gotten very greedy in recent years, people don't go to Vegas like they once did for that reason. They used to buy your meals and all these things, come gamble with us, blah, 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 free meals, this, comp that. Those days are over. It used to be charming. Now it's corporate. I hear they're charging, Bino, in the sports books if you want to go watch the games. Are they doing that in all the sports books, Bino? And what do they charge out there if you want to go watch the NCAA tournament games there?
Well, it's not so much the books, Tony. Especially in the old part of Vegas where I am. But there's so little room in the sports books themselves that what most of the major hotels do is they open up great big banquet rooms and then they charge exorbitant fees for people to go in there and watch. For instance, the Golden Nugget, where Brian loves to stay, great property. They were charging $625 to sit in there for 4 days. Tony, that's almost more. I bet every game. I made 56 plays. That's almost a quarter of what I've bet completely. I mean, there's no way. It costs like $150 a day to sit in there if you take an individual day to sit in there. It's just, and everyone does it. So, guys like me that are nickel and dimers that are just out here to watch basketball and bet $20 a game or something like that, you have to improvise. And the Cal sets up in the sports book. They'll set up 6 to 8 4-man tables, and they're free, but you just have to be there at the crack of dawn, and you have to basically stay there all day long, or have somebody stay at your table to hold your place.
So
did the D, because down the street we went to the D.
Yep. I think the D was the only one, Brian, and I don't know if they did it this year. I didn't check on that, but because it was my plans to stay right here in the Cal. But the D, the last couple of years, has had a room on the 13th floor that was free. But they're the only place that I've found, and I'm sure the regular strip is even worse.
So you're telling me they are charging then to sit in these sports books, like in the classic sense?
Yes. I mean,
wow.
And
yeah.
Some of them, the seats aren't really that comfortable. I hope they're not. Now, Circa is comfortable seating.
What are they charging Circa, Bino?
They do charge.
If you want to go watch games in Circa.
Circa's out of this world.
Just to get in and watch it?
Go in there on Thursday through. Yeah, no, you probably can't get in Circa for 4 days for less than $1,000.
What have we done in sports, y'all? That people are paying $250 to sit there and watch TV. I mean, it's crazy, y'all. That's what Danny White, that's what these people, that's what they know. That is what they know.
See, I'll wander into Circa this afternoon and watch a little spring training baseball so I can sit in that sports book.
They don't charge you to sit in there when it's just a regular day and there's no big event. It's normally not that way.
No, but I mean, the NCAA tournament, they have, and it's interesting, Tony, because, and I don't know if this is the reason, but I talked to the guy that's always been in the window here at the Cal while I've been here.
Yep.
And I said, it's just a busy 4 days for you here, isn't it? And he said, not like it used to be. He said, it's winding. He said, we're losing people. So.
Yeah, lost wages. If you go on YouTube and you just look up, like, query Vegas losing customers, Vegas is done. There are people that are locals there that go around and they just basically tell you the truth. I mean, they've corporatized it to the point where a lot of the people that were high rollers don't come back because they're nickel and diming, just like Danny White. It's and I guess the calculus is enough people will hang in there and stay with us, and we'll squeeze more out of less. That's what Vegas is doing. We'll squeeze more out of less instead of making it kind of like what they're doing at Tennessee and Georgia and Alabama. We'll just squeeze more out of less. It really sucks, if you ask me. Because really, if you think about it, Bino and I went down to cold Atlantic City. And we watched when we fetched my son one year at school, like 3 or 4 years ago, when he was at Penn. And we went up there and fetched him one December. Bino came with me. And it was freezing in Atlantic City that day. But there were a bunch of people from New York City down there watching NFL games. And I forget what sports book we were in, but it was pretty nice. And it was pretty packed. And they didn't charge you $1 to be in there. And the sights and sounds in that place, I see why Bino likes to go get in the middle of that. Because these people are talking trash to each other. And they're going back and forth with each other on their games. And I mean, it gets contentious. And it's kind of comical. It's like, you're sitting there. It's like you're watching sports, but there's some stakes involved in it. And none of these games are ever over to these people, like Bino's talking about. There's a certain energy about it. So I kind of get that.
Yeah, the first full day, Tony, it was the first game. Some guy came and sat next to me, and he had a first half over. And, teams are always toward the end of the first half. They're going to milk the clock or or whatever, milk their last possessions. This guy's just hollering and screaming at the top of his lungs. Shoot the ball. What are you shoot it? Just shoot it.
Yes.
I mean, every time they would go down the court and take a few dribbles, he was on their ass.
I would love to be at a sports book when you see these zany endings in these college football games where a kid will lateral a ball around and a defensive team will intercept it and run it in there for a touchdown, like some of the worst beats in the world. All right, Bino, before we go back to the phones, what's the worst beat you saw anybody? What's the worst beat you saw anybody absorb over the weekend? Then we'll go back to the phones. Anything come to mind? Or was it pretty clean?
No, this didn't have a whole lot of bad beats to it, Tony. Now let me think for just a second. Now I think no, it wouldn't have changed. People on the money line, of course, when Tanner threw it up there from 3/4 court.
Yes.
And the ball rattled and came out.
That was funny.
Yeah, I mean, people that had bet Nebraska on the money line were absolutely holding their breath. But there's not a single really bad beat that I could think of.
Back to the phones we go. I want to remind you, we got some NIT action tonight. Brian's right. In the women's, you got second round. One thing I like about those women, you get on the floor with one of those women's teams, and if you've ever seen, and I say this, it's a great line. You can use it on your friends. You watch two girls fight in high school. They are merciless on each other. These women's basketball teams, when they play each other, there is zero mercy. I don't care about your feelings. I'm going to beat you like 95-25, and I'll be pressing at the end of the game, damn it. And you'll shake my hand when the game's over, or you won't. But I'm not here to make friends with you, and I am here to absolutely beat the living absolute daylights out of you. Brian, what's good tonight in women's action? Give me a couple games to look at.
Well, let me pull it up here.
Second round of the women tonight.
Oh, Tony, I backtrack. Obviously, those holding Santa Clara tickets, that's the worst beat of the weekend. Whether it was money line, spread, whatever it was, when Oway threw that shot in and sent it to overtime, he changed money in a lot of hands.
And I'll tell you
now,
this.
were there a lot of Kentucky fans out there, Bino?
There were not. I saw a few Kentucky fans, but not many.
I saw some.
I'll tell you this, Bino.
I got one of them to say F Tennessee right to my face that one time.
Nice,
2 years ago.
Brian. That's a good thing.
Right before they went out and lost to St. Peter's.
Do you have? Oh, how sweet, Brian!
I remember that. Remember that. Yeah.
You witnessed that, Brian, in Vegas.
We were walking by a couple of Kentucky fans on our way to, I guess it was Saltgrass in the Gold Nugget to eat. And I got one of them to say F Tennessee, and then they go out an hour later and lose to St. Peter's.
Give me some.
Or was it? So no, it was Oakland.
Lieutenant Mark from Colombo said Basilio with a head bob for women's basketball going on. Hey, listen, I'm a sportsman, brah. And it is the second round. And if there's a matchup tonight that's decent, I'll look at it, you clown.
You've got the two USCs playing South Carolina, Southern Cal.
Ooh.
And
nice.
South Carolina is favored by 23.5 points. UCLA is favored by 26.5 over 8-seed Oklahoma State.
Okay.
Vanderbilt is a 12-point favorite over Illinois. Vanderbilt's a 2-seed. Illinois is 7.
All right.
And UConn plays Syracuse. UConn's a 35.5-point favorite at home in a second-round game. It's 35.5 points.
Let me read.
If you want to see a close game, West Virginia is a 3.5-point favorite over Kentucky. That's at 5 p.m. today.
That's a
little earlier.
Let me read something to the living listener, okay? Northwestern And UCF have never been to a Sweet 16. This is perspective now, okay? SMU haven't been there in 59 years. TCU haven't been there in 58 years. Colorado haven't been there in 57 years. Rutgers haven't been there in 47 years. Minnesota, because they had to forfeit their appearances in the 90s, haven't been there in 36 years. Iowa State haven't been there, No, that's Arizona State. Haven't been there in 31 years. Georgia and Mississippi State haven't been there in 30 years. Cal haven't been there in 29 years. Seton Hall haven't been there in 26 years. Penn State haven't been there in 25 years. Georgia Tech, Bino, and Wake Forest haven't been there in 22 years, Bino. 22 years. Oklahoma State, who knocked out my St. Joe's boys one dark day that I'll never forget. Oklahoma State haven't been there in 21 years, Bino. Can you imagine that, Bino? Oklahoma State haven't been there in 21 years.
No, that's unbelievable, Tony. And I mean that pair of Georgia Tech and Wake,
those are basketball schools.
Yeah.
I mean, 22 years. 22 years. Boston College hadn't done it in 20 years. Georgia and Vanderbilt hadn't done it in 19 years. Pitt and Missouri haven't done it in 17 years. Washington hadn't done it in 16 years. You people want to bitch about Rick Barnes? Cincinnati hadn't done it in 14 years. Louisville. I'm talking to Chris from Louisville. And Ohio State haven't done it in 13 years. Stanford, the Cardinal, hadn't done it in 12 years. The Utes of Utah haven't done it in 11 years. Hey, Hoosier Vol Ryan, pull up a chair, bruh. You haven't done it in 10 years. Notre Dame Digger Phelps hadn't done it in 10 years. Oklahoma, Miami hadn't done it in 10 years. Bri, who's the Bulldog logo there under 9 years? Next to, there's a Bulldog logo there, Bri. You're looking at it. Tell me whose logo that is. Pull that up, Bri. I sent it to you. Along with Carolina hadn't done it in 9 years, the Sweet 16. Wisconsin, Bino, hasn't been to the Sweet 16 in 9 years.
That looks like Butler.
Texas A&M,
that you're asking about.
Thank you.
That hasn't done in 9 years.
Texas A&M hadn't done it in 8 years. West Virginia hadn't done it in 8 years. LSU, John Adams. I want you on the mic tomorrow, you punk and clown. They haven't done it in 7 years. Virginia hasn't done it in 7 years. Virginia Tech hadn't done it in 7 years. Baylor hasn't done it in 5. Oh, but they got the car guy. Yeah, and they won about 6 games. Big damn deal. Florida State hadn't done it in 5 years. Oregon, Bino, hadn't done it in 5 years. South Carolina hadn't done it in 5 years. Syracuse, Bino, haven't been to the Sweet 16 in 5 years. Kansas, Bino, hasn't been to the Sweet 16 in 4 years. Villanova, Bino, hasn't been to the Sweet 16 in 4 years. And, Bri, who's the logo between those two? Is that Providence? That might be Providence. It looks like a friar in the middle of them, Bino. Is that right? Or, Bri? Is that Providence's logo? All right, moving along.
If it's a friar, it is.
Well, it looks like it's got a handle on it, and it's got fries in it, and it looks like
it's got fries in it?
It's right over a vat of grease. Here's a 3-year club, all right? You ready for the 3-year club? This is a Sweet 16 now, y'all. I'm breaking it down scientifically with the big schools here. Kansas State hadn't done it in 3 years. Miami hadn't done it in 3 years. UCLA hadn't been there in 3 seasons, and neither has X, a.k.a. Xavier. The 2-year club. I got the Clemson Tigers. I got somebody with a Creighton Blue Jay. Creighton Blue Jays. Who is MU there, Bri? And NC State. Who's MU there, Bri?
MU could be Marquette.
The Marquette. Thank you. The one-year club. Auburn, the Y, Florida, Kentucky, Maryland, Ole Miss, and Texas Tech. And we want to bitch about Rick Barnes? The Colorado Buffaloes haven't been to the Sweet 16 Bino in 57 years.
That's got a good program.
Amish. 57 years. Bri, give me your favorite game to play tonight on that card, then we'll go back to the phones. We've been to 4 straight.
I don't think I'm going to bet any on women's.
And people are bitching about
tonight,
Barnes. All right, take the Flyers in the money line tonight over Columbus. I've given the Flyers that a couple times, and they win it. They've been winning for me. I'm not going to lie to you. Well, hottest team in hockey right now. Making a playoff push. I never gave up. Even a couple weeks ago when I was telling my brother I wanted us to lose the rest of our games and tank. Is that giving up, Bino, when you tell your brother and your son that in a group chat? I want us to lose the rest of our games and tank, and then we get hot, and all of a sudden I want to go to the playoffs?
Yes, that's giving up.
No, I reserve the right. My friends at VIP play the welcome bonus. You bet 20, you get $100 instantly as your welcome bonus. The promo code, the phrase that pays is TN Tony. There's NIT action tonight. There's women's action tonight. There's an NHL card. There's some NBA basketball for those that can stomach that. It's live always, 200-plus leagues, numerous bet types, props, options. You got it. Everybody gets treated like a VIP over at VIP Play, where everybody gets treated like a VIP. And if you have a gambling problem, 800-889-9789, 21 and over, located in the state of Tennessee to place a bet. And, Bri, if one of those women's games, if Gino's on the ropes tonight, give me a call because I'm going to prop me some proper popcorn. I'm going to open one of my bags, Bri, and I'm going to go for it tonight if Gino's on the ropes. Gino Adams. Gino.
Bino is a 35-point favorite in a second-round game.
Yeah.
Brian, Bino, how about Georgia? 30 years between Sweet 16 appearances. Is that any good?
I say good.
We got to give a shout-out to Georgia's effort against St. Louis in the first round. They were down by 40 points at one point. I mean, they hadn't lost a game by, I don't think, 15 points all year. Maybe once or twice, more than 20 points all year.
Go Dogs.
This after getting blown out by Gonzaga the year before, where they were down, I think, 28-3 earlier. In an 8-9 game where you think it's a coin flip.
And you know Danny White's sitting there watching that, and he's going, hey, at least Kim Caldwell ain't down 40 points. As I wrote in the blog today about Kim, I give Kim Caldwell a lot of credit for her press conference. Now, I don't think she can coach a lick, and she doesn't have control of her team. No offense to her. But her press conference was stellar the other day. She won the press conference. She won that press conference. So Tony's Pizza Wraps just put on here, Bino, wash me down with a caffeine-free Diet Coke, Tony. I mean, they're watching me, and there's a guy named after my wraps. And I'm sorry, but I find that funny. And Lambert doesn't. Lambert thinks I'm paying too much attention to the chatters. Hello and welcome in.
Hey, Tony, Chris from Birmingham.
Hey, Chris, good to talk to you.
Yeah, hey, happy anniversary. That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I have a statement and then a question to go with the statement. I'd be fascinated to hear what you guys say. So, you know that play toward the very end of the game yesterday when the ball went off of Boswell's head and then they were arguing about whether or not the Virginia guy tipped it. And in one of the replays, the guy that they said tipped it, he turned around so that you could see it plain as day on the camera that he was like, "Oh no, I tipped that ball." And so my question to you guys is, do y'all think on the replays they ever actually look at a player's face to know if they're guilty or not? Because I really think that came into play in that call in the ball stand with Tennessee. So I'd be interested to hear what you guys think if they actually look at players' faces to know what actually happened.
Bino, should officials use context clues like that? Because we were having an argument, and Matt Diskin was like, clearly the player did that. And Brian and I were like, you can't tell if it goes off his finger or not. And Matt's like, I don't care about that. Look at the language. Look at that kid's body language. Look at what he's saying afterwards. To our friend in Birmingham's point here, Bino, should officials look at context clues?
I don't think they should, Tony, because I don't think there's any way to accurately read some of those during the heat of a contest. Some players are a lot more calm in demeanor than others are. And I don't think they did it in this case. Of course, I'm not a replay official, so I can't say for sure. I think in this case, they ruled that it went off of his finger on the way out of bounds, and there was nothing that they looked at that could conclusively change that opinion. And that's the reason that we got the ball.
Well, what's interesting to the player, to the caller's point, is the guy admitted after the game that he touched the ball.
Okay.
But in the moment, gamesmanship tells you that, hey, don't sell for it. You know, in the moment, I'm trying to get the ball back. You know, this isn't golf. I'm not out here, quote unquote, honoring the game. I mean, hey, in baseball, I'll steal your sign. In basketball, if the ball goes off of me and you call it off of them, you know. Yeah, I'm watching a game yesterday in college baseball, and they called a strike three. They showed it on Sports Center today. That was at least 9 inches off the plate, and they called strike three. And the pitcher, they zoomed in on his face when he was walking into the catcher. This is the final out of the game, and he had a look on his face like, I cannot believe they just called that a strike. But nobody's going to say, hey, that wasn't strike three to the umpire. So it is what it is. What do you think, my friend in Birmingham? Should they use context clues, yes or no?
Well, I think when it's very plain to see. I mean, the guy clearly looked like, oh, man, that ball went off my hand. And I understand what you guys are saying together, that you can't do that consistently. But, I mean, he was definitely caught with his hand in the cookie jar and was saying, oh, rats, went off my hand.
Chris, that's really interesting. Yeah. I've got a buddy that was a replay official for a number of years in college football. I'm going to reach out to him and ask him if they ever use that type of thing in decision making.
I'd appreciate it, just because I love to learn stuff, and I really appreciate all that you guys talk about. And yeah, if you have an opportunity to ask somebody, because I'm totally curious to know.
Thank you, ma'am. That's a great
All right,
thing.
y'all have a great day.
It's a great thing to bring up.
It is. It's a great question.
Mm-hmm. Because, look, I'm looking at the play, and it's really close. And why not let the tape roll and see what this player's telling me by his body language? I mean, it's part of the replay. I mean, technically speaking, I'm capturing the whole replay. Watch it all the way through. It's really interesting. So, but yeah, he did sell after the game. But in that spot, he's not going to go over to the official and say, hey, by the way, I touched that. Not golf. You know? It's not golf. We go back to the phones. And that's the thing that's unique about golf. Golf, you tell on yourself. Is there another sport, guys, y'all can think of where you tell on yourself? Where you're literally expected to tell on yourself? And in most of these other sports, you're expected to cheat the game a little bit.
Golf's the only one I can think of, Tony.
Because, Bino, when you're out on a baseball field and you figure out what that catcher's putting down back before the days of this thing they have now, or you can figure out what that third base coach, when they're laying down that bunt sign, you read his signs over there and call pitch out. I'm not sharing that information with you. Are you, Bino?
What is that?
In other words, if I can read your signs in baseball, I'm not going to go over there and say, hey, I'm reading your signs.
Oh, no. Heck no. Heck no.
And in football, if you take the ball and you mark it up a half a yard and I know I was down back there, am I going to walk up to you and say, hey, by the way, you misspotted that ball? I got to be honest with you here. Negative. I'll tell you what's crazy about the sport of college basketball. And I'm going to ask anybody listening right now, how many 3-second calls did you see over the weekend? I saw several guys camping lanes. I saw a couple guys fumble with balls. I asked Maury about it. He said, Tony, the game's so inside out now, they're not even looking inside the lane. So few teams play inside the paint anymore. I want you to think about that when you watch these games. I forgot what the 3-second call motion even is, Bino, the call for it. And it was the cheapest call back in the Regal days when they would let the Regal teams move on. By the way, Bino, Duke ripped off TCU over the weekend. The officials, I don't know what that was. I don't know if they were for sale. But Duke's looked pretty kind of lame through 2 games. And the officiating they got against TCU, that sequence where they basically cost TCU 14 points with no time going off the clock, was crazy. Did you see that, Bino?
Tony, where the game turned around on a bogus goaltending call, and then a Boozer faked the guy off his feet, ducked under him, and the guy simply wrapped his arms around him to try to break his fall going straight down to the floor, and they called it a flagrant one.
Flagrant one.
I mean, and it went from basically a tie game to Duke was 8 points ahead before you could blink.
And then Jamie Dixon gets a technical because you can't call that, and now all of a sudden it's 12. Like the whole sequence was just, it was one error after another error after another error, and it ended up to the game's over now. I despise that Duke. I would almost sacrifice the Vols to get Duke out of there at this point. They piss me off so bad. Of course, I don't feel that way, but I almost feel that. I'm almost back to really hating this Duke bunch because that's just not fair. I mean, that's just not. It's not why we watch sports. It's not just. It's not right. Am I overstating that, Bino, or did that look pretty ridiculous, like wrestling?
It was Duke tradition.
It was Duke, yeah. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Back to the phones we go. Michael Moat said he saw one over the weekend, whoever was playing Purdue. James Daniel, about the 3-second thing, said that Akpar and Estrella are constantly in the paint for like 8 to 10 seconds. They really are. There is no movement through the paint. It used to be that you would have to move through the paint. Now it's, I'm going to park my big ass here. You're going to get me the basketball. But most times, guys are too busy. Like Maury said, they're too busy worried about who's going to shoot the next three-point shot. I'll tell you this. The first 20 minutes of Virginia basketball yesterday, I thought we played some unwatchable offense at times this year. That, my good friends, was some unwatchable basketball. Unwatchable basketball. as we go back to the phones. Hey, back in the day, they used to look for that call, the 3-second call. That's why I'm bringing it up. It was the great equalizer. This team's getting ready to beat a Regal team. They would go, blow the whistle, 3-second call, on with the next one. Now you never see it. You never see it called. Back to the phones we go. Hello and welcome in. You're on the extra time overtime. Hi.
Hey, what's up, guys? Josh.
There he is.
So, Tony, when me and Artie went to Cherokee this past Thursday, they charged $150 a piece for a seat all day at the sports book.
Did you know that going in?
Yeah, I booked it back in February. I booked it ahead of time.
You paid $150 each to watch games on television?
Yes.
I'll tell you what, Joshy boy, I'm bringing you and Artie to my next watch party. I'm going to tack me. I'm going to get me another $300 in revenue, Bino. What do you think of that?
I think Joshy should get some kind of break at your watch party.
How about this, Joshy? You guys come. You give me the $300, and I'll hook you up with some drink tickets out the back door.
Yeah, I still need to come down and see the Ray Mayer studio sometime.
Josh, you are welcome here anytime you want to come. I would love to have you. Maybe you, and Artie on Friday night. Maybe we can have some midnight madness in here.
True.
'Cause I'll tell you one thing. Artie pulls those pipes out after midnight. He lets it all hang out, bro. I mean, who knows what's going to happen in here? I'll tell you what. I'm liable to whoop that man's ass if I'm in the right mood. My 60-year-old self.
I've seen you pissed off before, Tony.
And his 30-year-old self. How old's Artemis?
He's 34.
I'd take one of his 34-inch pythons, and I'd shove it so far up his candy rectum that he'd be singing like Michael Jackson on his second record. Go!
It'd kill you, Tony.
Artemis? Shit.
It'd kill you.
Tony.
I'm so much quicker than him, it ain't even funny.
Tony, what if Iowa State goes 0 for 11 like they did against us Friday night from three-point land to start out?
Well, you mean if they have a cold start?
Yes.
Probably be like a 2-point game, though, in the Vol, since they can't blow anybody out.
Yeah. No,
Right.
they can't. The only comfortable game we saw this year was them against Miami of Ohio Friday.
Exactly. And that was a nice, comfortable, because they were outmanned, outmatched. But this
you talk
team,
about a clinic.
Oh, my
that
God,
was
Bino.
a clinic.
Yeah.
And, Bino, when the officials let the Vols put their hands on you, Now, both these teams want this game to be officiated this way Friday night. What's interesting Friday is which team's deeper if they call ticky-tack stuff Friday, because both these teams are going to put their hands on each other. So if the game's officiated tightly, I don't know who it benefits.
Yeah, I agree with that. I for one, do not want Pat Adams, Doug Stiles, or any of those guys who've called our games before to officiate the game Friday.
Well, that burnout from the SEC we had yesterday, I mean, God, he was there when Moses got that 10 Commandments.
Talking about Daly, Tony?
I mean, he's older than dirt.
Yeah.
You can barely run him down the floor. What is Don Daly still doing out there? No offense to him.
I have no idea.
I mean,
Tony.
he's
Pat Adams.
Yeah.
If Pat Adams does a 10:30 start and marches his Webster looking hind end over there to the many times he goes over there to monitor, we'll be done about 2:30.
No question. Yeah. And this Daly guy yesterday, Laura looked at me and said, he might be the only official with NIL deals in the thing. I said, what do you mean? She said Metamucil, Absorbine Joiner. What's the other thing, Bino, that we all take? Geritol, fish oil, supplements.
Hey, Bino, I don't know if you saw it when you're in Vegas, but there's a lot of people where me and Artie were at Cherokee. They were betting these smaller teams who were playing like the Dukes and the Virginias first round. They were betting race to 10, 15, 20, 30 points. I don't know
Ew, that's
they have
interesting.
that at your sports book in Vegas where you're staying at or not.
I didn't see that, Joshy. I'm not sure if they have it or not.
You know what's crazy, guys? That 1st to 70 thing held up yesterday. That stat for the Vols, if they get to 71st, they're winning.
Yeah.
That held up yesterday. But, Josh, so they have a thing like 1st to 10, 1st to 20. They do that with these to get more action on the lesser games?
Yes. They had it in every first round of the tournament game. It's a good little fun prop bet to split out. So I told Tony this before the tournament started, Bino, and I told you when you're in Vegas, you're going to see the Vols go to the Sweet 16 before you leave. And I was right.
Yes, you were correct, Joshy. I'm glad you were.
So, matchup-wise, Tony, do we feel good about this game against Iowa State with Jefferson if he is out against this Friday?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. Bino, you feel good about this game right now?
I do not. I just think Iowa State's really, really good, and I was tremendously impressed with how well they played without Jefferson, who's one of the best players in the entire country.
Now, history's on somebody's side in this thing. I guess it's on Tennessee's side. We've been to the 8. The 8's been a tough nut for them historically to crack, so why not?
Yeah, definitely is. So if we advance to the next round,
yes,
in the squared circle,
yes,
give me those Michigan Wolverines. I want them in the squared circle if we advance and beat Iowa State because I like to match up against them, and I think we could body them up. Have a good day.
Joshy boy, I appreciate it. Later in the week, maybe a clipboard will be inserted in an orifice.
Roll Tide.
Kid
I'm not going to say that, but
Kid Huddy 7. Did Ament ask the ref if he can't move the ball on the baseline? I'm going to talk to somebody later on, or text with somebody. I don't talk to those people, but they'll text me.
Tony, I have no way of knowing this. Obviously, I have no way of knowing this, but I'm positive that Ament talked to the official about something right before he handed the ball. I saw him do it.
I'm going to find out.
I believe the only thing he could talk to him about there, I believe he asked him, was told, and then I just think in the heat of the moment that Ament had a brain cramp. I may be dead wrong, but that's what I believe.
Basilio's Beak said, I know Tony hates computers, but Bart Torvik, I think Bart Torvik's thing is incredible. And Ken Palm's incredible. I think when you devise a program that can set lines, I mean, my Rona me. That's pretty damn insane. Bino, you're right, though. Something happened. They obviously spoke to each other there. Here's what I think was going on with Ament yesterday. His body's not cooperating. He's very frustrated. He's in his own head. He's got the Steve Sachs throwing the ball from second base thing going on. And he's all in his own head. And for some reason, somebody on that staff wouldn't say, hey, coach, can we get him off that throwing the ball in? He doesn't need to be doing it. Now, Rodney Woods, who's coached and won 1 million games, said the reason they have him throwing the ball in is he's their best passer. That might be true.
And he's got height.
He's tall.
Where it's hard for them to front him there and give him trouble. So
within the quarter,
but he's not good at it.
He's not good at throwing the ball in, though. That would be my
he's
rebuttal
not.
to that.
Inbounding is not his strength.
Yeah, and I think Ament's mind just went blank there, and I've done it. I've done it on here. I've done it.
Hey,
on here.
He's a freshman, 18 years old, in the biggest moment of his college career.
Yes.
And I mean, we saw one of the great players in college basketball history call a timeout they didn't have that cost his team a national championship. I mean, it happens. It happens.
Just like I hope number 2 has already happened on that Kentucky detail, Rodney, in your basement. Rodney, get some of that. If you really need like an extra boost, get you like a laxative. Think of me later.
Tony, it's lunchtime for folks.
I don't know, Bino. You're the one.
Be talking doses on here.
You're the one on here talking about this sort of thing. Guys, it's been fun. We did like 3 hours last night.
Happy anniversary. If I haven't said it yet.
Absolutely, Tony. Happy anniversary to you and Laura.
Happy anniversary by Little River Bambino is not a bad jam, is it?
You remember it? It is not.
You remember it?
Yes.
They made some good jams. It's been a lot of fun, boys. It's been a lot of fun. Brian, Coach Kim Caldwell on the way out, Brian. You bringing her back?
I find it almost malpractice if Jeff Walls at Louisville was interested in one of this job
twice
2 years ago.
Twice.
That you wouldn't have hired him.
They don't want to spend money on it, Brian. That's the trick here. They wanted to get her. Here's the deal. They wanted to get her at a cheap rate, and now the rev share thing has come in, and so they have to. Well, they got to spend money on it now. But they wanted to. Danny White's idea was, I'll bring in somebody cheap. They'll run around, play basketball. It'll be fun to watch, and let's do it. You know, that was the whole point behind Kim Caldwell. We'll do something that hadn't been done in the league.
Well,
we'll try.
They
something.
might actually. Some of the donors they're relying on might actually say, "We're going to spend more. Let's go get a real coach."
Yeah, I think that's right.
A better coach. I think that might happen this time.
Jim Haslam still has a very much an interest in that women's basketball deal, and he's the guy that can make the call here. And I do think there are people inside Danny White's organization. I said this a couple weeks ago. I believe this because I know this, that have encouraged him that, hey, we ought to move on. My sense is, though, unless somebody like a Mr. Haslam comes forward and says, hey, you got to make this move, because he'll listen to him. Those are the type of people, when they jump, athletic directors say, how high? Invariably, those are your owners. There's a couple of them inside Tennessee's apparatus. And unless they tell him that, he's probably going to let her run it back. Here's the issue with letting her run it back, and I'm just thinking out loud here, as somebody that really doesn't watch that sport, but how much credibility do you have right now if you're her? I mean, she's on the hottest of hot seats. So, and the Brady's T-Tops asks an interesting question here, which is, has Caldwell ever spoken to Dr. Danny, or does she just deal with one of the lieutenants? That's a great question. I would imagine, since he hired her, he probably has tried to counsel her through this, because he has a, how do you put this? He has like a personal interest in seeing her succeed. But if you watched him Friday, I just don't see it, Bri, to you. And when she pulled that Cooper girl out, that was the final. One of them got in an FU, and another one of them got in an FU, Bri. And she got the final one in on her when she pulled her out of that game with like 3 minutes left, Bri. The announcers thought she was pulling her out for a substitution, Bri. Nuh-uh. She pulled her out to say, hey, by the way, I put up with you all year. You can go sit down.
Well, they have 8 national championships in program history, and now they end the season with 8 straight losses for the first time ever.
Wow. Somebody said Rob Lanier's. Did Rob Lanier get let go, Bri? Brady T-Tops just said
I haven't seen that.
No, I don't think that's right. Let me look it up. I know Kim English is. He's an American basketball coach, a.k.a. the ice handler. I'll look for news. He's 57 years old, and no, that's fake news. Fake news, fake news, fake news. Beanstar, love you. Thank you. You all have a great day. G to the B to the O. Thank you, Brother Bino. Safe travels, Bino. Let's try this again. G to the B to the O. And safe travels to my man Bino. We love you. We appreciate you. How sweet it is. We appreciate you. What a great, great time. I'm going to go grab me a nap. Whew. Just to get here. It is just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Absolutely amazing. And Tennessee had a little bit of everything in that game. Now, Rodney Woods going to join us later on in the hour. Rodney Woods, who played here, many moons ago, but is a Hall of Fame coach in the state of Kentucky, is the guy responsible for Chris Lofton ultimately ending up here. He essentially discovered Chris Lofton. And he texts and says, this Nate Ament guy, he said, look, I wore the uniform 50 years ago. I'm VFL to the core. Rodney has literally in his basement a toilet. And on his toilet is a Kentucky emblem. And he puts a deuce there every once in a while. It's a true story. Rodney's real deal Holyfield. Rodney said, I consider that young man a VFL, FL, no question about it. There are so many people in his position that if they were in the spot he's in, playing in the pain he's in, they would have already pulled themselves out of the tournament. I have so much respect for Nate Ament. Rick Barnes was so right about him. So right. And here's the truth. If Nate Ament was 100% healthy, Tennessee would have absolutely obliterated Virginia yesterday. That would have been an obliteration. That wouldn't have been